The Fan.
Hey, what it do?
Ahoy!
What's up? Good
You doing like a Good Morning Vietnam thing?
Wednesday.
there?
Wednesday.
Good morning, Vietnam.
I had to think about what day it was. It's Wednesday, right?
It is Wednesday.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, cool.
All right. Yeah, good Wednesday.
As
How's
opposed to
everybody
like
doing?
a Thursday, and then it would be a whole thing. And
Well, tomorrow's Thursday.
tomorrow's Thursday.
I know that.
Well, now you do. But before, I think you.
No,
were a
I
little
knew that.
You were a little confused.
I thought it was Tuesday.
Nope, it is not Tuesday. No, just
Cool.
a good old Wednesday. We love our Wednesday shows.
Did you hear that Oregon score?
Yeah, that's not good.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
I guess they were in contention
up with that?
for the lowest point output in any women's Pac-12 tournament game history. They didn't score. They played in quarters in women's instead of halves.
Yeah.
They did not have double-digit scoring in any quarter until the fourth. It was like 7, 4, and 8.
Yeah, this is the this is the breakdown of that. Colorado was up 26-7 in the first. They outscored him 12-4 in the second. By the way, great defense. They held Colorado to 12. Played the old four corners
Wait,
there.
can I stop you right there?
Yeah.
Before you continue with the hot numbers?
Yeah.
I read that Colorado went score. Okay, so by the way, we're talking about the Pac-12 women's basketball tournament.
Yes.
Round 1 game, big game. Ducks, Buffs, winner plays the Beavs. Happened today. Okay. Colorado went scoreless.
Yeah.
For 6 minutes of the second quarter.
Hence the big 12-point output.
And they were still up 27 at half.
Yikes.
I want you to realize that.
Yeah. 12-4 and then 15-8, and then they closed it out with a massive run where Oregon scored 11 points in the fourth quarter. Unfortunately, Colorado had 26.
Got hot just a little too late.
Little too late there. They should have taken the defensive intensity of the second quarter and paired it with that juggernaut quarter of 11 points in the fourth, and you would have had something. They finished 11-21.
Yeah.
Like, there's some talk.
They finished on a 14-game losing streak, which ties a conference record.
I mean, Bold, we'll see what happens.
So they lost by 40 today?
Yeah, 30-79.
Yeah, they almost
41.
lost. They almost lost by 50. Right? 49?
What? I thought you said it. What was the final score?
79 to 30.
Yeah.
If it were
Oh,
80 to
79
they lost by
30.
49. It
Oh,
was almost
They
50.
damn near
I was
lost by-
thinking
they-
70 to 39.
For a second, I was panicked that my math was wrong, but it was someone else's math was wrong.
You know, they
but we're all
damn near,
bad at that.
they damn near lost by a nickel. And that is,
Fire Kelly Graves.
well, like there is some talk that, you know, the men's team hasn't exactly been lighting the world on fire. And I know that they've battled some injuries, but to where those programs were a couple years ago to where they're at now, there's, you know, it's not great. Like, we don't necessarily think about Oregon as being one of those schools that just goes and willy-nilly fires people, but it's not exactly forks up here right now in Eugene.
What's he making?
Not everything's going great.
What's that dude make? $1 million?
I'm guessing he makes a good chunk of change. I mean,
What does
Oregon
that mean?
pays.
What does a good chunk of change mean?
I'll
Does he
bet
make
you-
$1 million?
I'll bet you he makes 1.8.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That much?
I'll bet you he makes.
Then that's not good enough.
I'm looking here.
If he makes under $1 million, I say keep him. If he makes over $1.5 million, I say fire him.
He makes
Ooh.
just over $1 million.
1.02 mil.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
now what do I do?
Yeah, I don't know.
I say keep him. He's done a good job, right? Good dude.
He's done a great job there, but
Yeah.
like I said, it's
Well, there you go.
it's-
Great job.
It's not trending in the right direction.
But you know,
Yeah,
look, rough year.
it's been rough years.
You know what I would do? I would
Years.
ask the players. I'd be like,
Oh.
"What's up?"
That's,
Well, yeah.
that's
Seriously, yeah.
Players
Do you-
wanted Mark Helfrich, too.
Well, no, I'm not saying who the player. I'm just saying is he a problem with the player? If he's a problem with the players, you got to fire him.
yeah.
For
if
sure.
if the players are saying, "Oh man, we love this guy. We just had a bad year, a couple years of recruiting, or we just were young, or we had injuries, or if the players support him, I think that means something."
Well, a couple years ago they had a mass exodus. I don't remember exactly what all that entailed, but they
I remember that, but I don't remember why.
But if you sit down with the players and they're like, "God, he's an ass,"
yeah.
and we hate him, fire his ass.
Well, all I know is 11-20 is not great. So going back to they had that 31-2 season, and that was with the teenage basketball witch there.
Where's she from?
Sabrina?
Yeah.
Walnut Creek, California.
There you go.
East Bay.
Look, of course, East Bay. Yeah, he's all over it.
Yeah.
Hometown honk down here.
Yeah, well, it's kind of cool. She grew up a huge Steph Curry fan, and then now they're like, competing against each other and whatnot. But yeah, she grew up about 15 minutes north of where I lived.
All I'm saying is, like, he went, this is in a row. He went 33-5, 33-5, 31-2. And that was unfortunately where you got the COVID season, and most people think Oregon would have won the national title that year. Since then, He's gone 15-9. He's gone 20-12, 20-15, and now 11-20. And this will be the second year in a row where they don't make the tournament. And that other one they lost in the first round. So all I'm saying is it's not trending in the right direction.
Well, that's a real hot take.
It's not good.
But why? The question is why?
I don't know. In case you hadn't paid any attention, I'm not exactly digging into the ins and outs of the women's basketball program.
I'm not asking you why. I'm asking it rhetorically. Like, why? You got to figure out why that's happening. And if it's not repairable, you got to fire the guy. Otherwise, he's not a...
Quite simply, if you can figure out what's gone wrong and if there's a good explanation for it, then fine.
He said, after the game, we've got to keep the players that want to win, that want to compete.
Yeah, see that?
So that's a shot at the players.
Yeah, I know, but to me, that's a shot at you because you're the one that bring them in, and it's your job to motivate them. You know, that's.
Well, he did also say, I think we have. He said, as coaches, we have to do a better job. He said we haven't done a good job. So he says the right things. It's just you got to get to the. I don't know. You got to talk to them all. See what's going on. That's my hot take. You got to get in there. You got to talk to them. You got to communicate. And I like him because he was nice to me at Black Butte when I saw him on the putting green once.
And that's what it boils down to.
And we talked ball.
He seemed like a nice enough guy.
Yeah, he was nice to me, so therefore keep him.
Well,
what do you think about that, big suit?
I think that they lost by damn near 50 today in the first round of the tournament to Colorado.
Yeah, but it wasn't 50, okay?
49.
They didn't lose by... Look.
That monster 11-point quarter.
The statement is true. It was true yesterday when I said the Ducks, there's no way they lose by 50 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Still true today.
Still true today.
They did not lose by 50.
And as the Vancouver Ford text line points out, Masters Pete would have fired Graves years ago.
He likes Graves, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
But he doesn't like Dana
He
Allman.
hates Dana Allman. I assume that he hated Kelly Graves, too.
Did he also meet Graves on the putting green or at the driving range, perhaps?
So, man, it all boils down to, are you nice to me on the putting green?
That's right.
Well, you'd be happy to know Chip Kelly spoke today, and Chip Kelly is in a great spot.
Yeah, we've got those
Sounds
clips.
like it.
Sounds like it. He's in a very special place.
We're gonna play all that today.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be a big show. Wednesday show.
Chucky Buckles.
But yeah.
Who had hot women's Oregon basketball to start the program?
Here's what I'd do. You know what I'd do? If you determine that Kelly Graves is a problem, you fire him and you go hire Scott Ruick.
Oh yeah, just go throw a bunch of money at him.
Why not?
Yeah, the Pac-12,
the guy's a hell of a coach.
He is a hell of a coach.
Pac-12 Coach of the Year.
That's right.
Soon to be Pac-2 Coach of the Year. Are you kidding me?
I heard Danny and Dusty on the way in. They're talking a little bit about the Portland Pickles theme nights coming up, and they're going to host a Pac-2 night where they celebrate the Cougs and Bees. Yeah.
Dude, say what you will about the Pickles and their level of ball. The Pickles do a great job over there.
Oh, they're goofy as all get up, but they do really fun stuff.
It's a fun team over there. Go Pickles.
All right.
You apparently not so much.
Pickles are great.
You really sound it.
I love them.
That's a very condescending take on the Pickles.
They hit the ball far out there.
It's not so much about what happens hitting the ball far. They just do a nice job. Dylan the Pickle over there, and they do a nice job. They do a nice job of drumming up attention, which is what you have to do when you're an independent league.
Well, big show. Big show. Big show.
Yeah, you got some NFL free agency.
Yeah, it's already started.
Got some NBA disasters going on.
Wait, who's the disaster?
Well, the Boston Celtics.
Why? Just because they lost?
They lost. Are you kidding me?
Really?
Colin spent a half hour today talking about how the Celtics are nothing more than regular season fodder.
Who's that dweeb on his show? That guy's a dork.
McIntyre or whatever.
Jason McIntyre?
Yeah, he is a giant.
Where did he come from?
I don't know.
What's his story?
Dude is something. He's something special. He's the same guy that thought that Mike White, the Jets, had found their franchise quarterback. He's a New York guy. He's from back east. Loves him some Jets.
Is he supposed to pull that audience? Is that the idea? Because I liked Joy Taylor. I thought she was great.
What about the other one, Kristen Leahy? Remember her? I remember when Colin came back here and we had a dinner with him or whatever at
like OMSI or something, right? There was like a meet and greet sort of thing.
No, it was a private thing. It was at
we did one at OMSI too. I remember.
What was the what's the Mexican restaurant Northwest? There's two of them.
I don't know. Matador maybe?
Matador.
Okay.
We went to the back at Matador, and he got up and talked about his new show that he had coming to Fox Sports. Mm-hmm. Or maybe at that time it was ESPN, but I think it was Fox Sports. And he talked about who his co-host would be, and he couldn't say who it was at the time.
Big secret.
Well, it's not really co-host. He's like, he doesn't have co-hosts. He just has minions, like Dan Patrick.
Like someone that does they do the news for him.
Yeah. So he was like, "You guys aren't gonna believe this. This is gonna be this is gonna be the best thing ever," and she was gone like in 2 years. So
I do remember her. She was the blonde
Kristen
lady,
Leahy.
and then there was Joy Taylor, and then
he was talking her up though. Is my point, and yeah,
wasn't Nick Wright on there for a while too? I think
I
he's
don't
starting to look like a weird Italian vampire. I don't know what he's got going on.
I don't know.
There's been some people that roll through there, but yeah, McIntyre's there now, and he is.
He just seems like a douchebag, McIntyre.
Apparently,
Yes.
he was a sports writer who co-founded the website The Big Lead.
Oh, there you go.
okay, there you go. All right,
Well, see now
All
we figured it out.
maybe they can hire him
Well, I
as
did
women's
learn today
basketball coach.
that Jason Tatum is 0 for 5 in game-winning or game-tying shots this year, and the Celtics 0 for 9 in those situations. Therefore, we could deduce
Not clutch.
that they are not clutch and they are nothing more than regular season fodder.
Oh no, oh no.
That's what I learned today. So again, a lot going on.
Who's our coach?
The
Joe Mazzulla,
Joe
whose
Mazzulla.
car are we going to take?
yeah.
The guy that watches The Town 4 times a week.
That is still just fascinating to me. Of all the movies that you can choose to watch 4 times a week, you go with The Town. Fine movie, but I don't know. Makes me question some things about you.
What do you think Leahy's doing now?
I don't know. Probably being hot somewhere. I don't know.
Guarantee you she's hot.
Sideline reporter doing something. I don't know.
Let's see what she's got going on.
Couldn't tell you. Haven't thought about her in years.
Man, we're Googling stuff already. I love it.
Yeah. Joy Taylor. I still Joy does the show on ESPN with like LaShawn McCoy and all those guys.
I think she has a podcast with Taylor Rooks as well, perhaps.
Yeah. I see and hear Joy Taylor all the time.
She's around.
Says here Leahy loves wine.
Wow. Hot. Just a hot insight there. She loves wine.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's right there on her Instagram.
Great.
Did you
Love
see
it.
the guy the whole internet was trolling, or at least Twitter was trolling, because he essentially thought he invented hanging out with wine and not technology? Did you see this guy?
I'm sorry, what?
There's this dude that was going viral because he's like, my girlfriend and I invented something called bottle night, where we get a bottle of wine and we put our phones away and we just talk and then we just hang out. And he thought it was this huge novel concept, and he was just getting dragged all over.
Is this like when LeBron invented Taco Tuesday? What? Like,
Yeah.
So basically, you're trying to claim that you invented getting drunk and
like
getting laid.
yeah, hanging out pre-technology or something.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna try to get me and my lady drunk and then try to get some. Yeah, because that's never happened. What? Bottle night. Hey, I came up with a clever name for it. Taco Tuesday.
Leahy hasn't tweeted since 2019. Rest in peace.
She's on your plan.
He says, "Do you know what bottle night is? Probably not, because my girlfriend and I invented it in a 2023 blizzard in Buffalo, New York. We lock our phones away, we turn off the TV, we each grab a bottle of wine, and we talk. That's it. We simply talk to each other and enjoy each other's presence. What do you think?"
Oh my God.
Like he honestly thinks it's like this was a novel concept.
What's this guy's name?
His name is Colin Rutherford.
Is this like just when I?
What a pioneer.
Yeah.
I mean, now can I say that I pioneered this, but instead of wine, I just drink hard liquor, and instead of my talking to my girl, I just talk to my dog and sit in silence in my living room? Is that a thing? Did I invent that?
Yeah.
Because I do that a lot. My lady goes out and I just I get drunk by myself. I'm not sure what I call that. I'm just calling that bottle night too. Why not? Can all have our own version of it.
You guys
Yeah,
want
just
hot?
invent your own. Well, you're really just renaming an old idea.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then I like to smoke a cigar in the living room and then claim that I don't know what that smell was when she comes home. Like, what are you talking about? Why is it so cold in here? I don't know. I think the window's been open for the last 3-4 hours. Must have forgotten about it. Why does it smell like smoke? I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
Someone asked what happened to Michelle Beadle. Great question.
I loved Michelle Beadle.
Yeah, she's great.
I did.
Was she on Colin's show? Wasn't she?
Was she?
For a while?
I don't know. But I did enjoy Michelle Beadle. I find her,
Yeah,
or
she's
found
great.
her delightful, but I don't know what she's up to.
Yeah. She probably loves wine too. All right, guys. Well,
I'm going to see if that's on her Instagram page.
hot Iditarod talk today. It is coming today.
We finally get into that?
Never fear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moose news.
What did you say?
Moose news.
Oh, I thought you said something. It's just the way it sounded. It came across odd.
You've seen the Iditarod news?
I have.
Yeah. Involves a moose.
No. I'm from the land of the Iditarod.
Yeah, we're aware.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
I've seen the mush.
All right, fella.
Do you even know what the mush is?
Yeah, the dog race.
Do you know what a musher is?
I do.
Is that like Santa?
It's just the person.
It's the sled driver.
That's
right?
what they call
So
it.
Santa.
That's what they. I don't think Santa uses the
Santa
sled
doesn't.
dogs.
Well, he mushes the deer.
He mushes. Yeah, that's what they call the racers.
Right.
They're the mushers.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to get down and dirty out there on the Iditarod.
Well, I can't tell you I knew any Iditarod rules until this came out, and boy, it's something.
Yeah, it is. And now I have followed the Iditarod for many years. I can't say I knew this specific rule either, but apparently they got a rule for everything, including capping moose.
Yeah.
Is that because that's probably the rule that applies to people within the state, so they just apply it to the race so as to not to make it unfair?
That would be my guess.
Yeah.
I had no idea. There is a very strange. It's the
Well,
only.
do we have to talk about it now?
Well, I don't know.
Not
I'm just saying
yet.
this. I believe that is the only sporting event in the world that has a rule that if you have to kill a moose. Like, I don't think that exists in any other sporting rule book.
That's why, to me, the Iditarod seems like the low-key wildest thing out there.
Yeah,
I mean-
and I'm guessing that there's some, like, in that Middle East, remember they play that game where they kill a goat and then you have to take the goat on the horseback, run it around a circle while people beat you with whips, and then once you get around the circle, you throw the dead goat in the middle. That may be the Middle East or Russia. I'm not certain. Like, they do some weird stuff, but I'll say this. Stateside, North America, yeah, nothing's touching the Iditarod.
So the first guy comes up and he's mushing his doggies and he punches a moose. The
Yes.
second guy comes up and he's mushing his doggies
No.
and he hits the moose. And the third guy comes up, is mushing his doggies, and he shoots the moose.
Wait, I thought it was.
And
I
then
thought
the-
2 and 3 were flipped. I thought it was that the second guy shot the moose, they stopped the race and dressed it, and the third guy ran into the carcass. I thought.
Oh, maybe. Okay.
That's
Whatever.
possible. There were 3 separate encounters. Now, we don't know if the punching moose is the same as the murdered moose.
Correct. We don't know if this was if they were friends, if they were
Just-
different ones, if it was
And that's
the
the
same.
key because
Yeah, we don't know.
if you kill a moose, you have to
Butcher it.
butcher right there. Like
Right.
you have to stop the race.
You have to field dress it.
And yeah. And so that's what the guy who shot it did, which I think the guy who punched the moose
Yeah.
got off scot-free unless it's a different moose.
Now, I will say, like,
So
everyone
some controversy here.
everyone thinks that, like, bears are the scary thing in Alaska, and rightfully so. Bears are terrifying. Moose kill and damage way more people than bears do. Because bears, for the most part, leave you alone. But moose don't give a 2 Fs, and everyone always thinks that they're friendly. People have no idea how big a moose is, and they're very honorary, and they will stomp your ass to death. So when it gets, the dogs don't like the moose don't like the dogs, and so when they get tangled, the moose start kicking dogs, and you can't have that.
Which fan personality do you think is delusional enough to think that they will take a moose?
Probably Joe Fisher at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, until you see one in,
or
and
Will
this is the thing,
Darkins, perhaps.
I think Ortner may be a candidate here.
Ortner's
Oh.
dumb enough to think that he could take one on because you never see moose. So you think of like Wally, Wally World type moose or Bullwinkle. Or you think it's the size of a horse. And by the way, even if it was the size of a horse, it would still stomp your ass to death. But I'm telling you, the first time you see a moose in person, having seen bears way too close and moose way too close, the moose is way more startling. Like, you know how big a bear is, and they're not always giant. The bears you see around golf courses in Alaska, they're not that terrifying grizzly. They're like brown bears. They're inland black or brown.
Weenie
They're
bears.
not that big. They're not that scary.
Girly
Like,
bears.
if you come across like a Kodiak bear that's been feeding on salmon, yes. But when you see a big old full-grown moose, holy crap.
My dad saw one in Canada, and they were by a lake, and it was coming through the trees. And he said he thought that like a dinosaur was
Yes.
coming through because entire trees were like getting mowed down by the rack of antlers, and the thing was just hulking.
There are moose that tip to tip and antlers can be over 10 feet.
Yeah.
Think about how long 10
Wow.
feet is, how wide that is, and realize that that is on a giant ass animal that doesn't mind stomping you or just beating the hell out of you with its head.
Well, we will get to the big moose Iditarod news today. Very controversial, very big deal in Alaska. But the Alaska Sports Talk guys are probably having a field day with
This
that.
is a big
This
deal.
is their
Nothing
Super Bowl.
happens in Alaska's sporting world, and so
Controversy.
we got this.
But let's start with today's poll question pertaining to statues. Next on The Fan.
The home of
that Michelle Beadle and her ties to Colin Cowherd, that was the TV show Sports Nation.
Ah, that's
Remember
what
that?
It was. I do remember that.
He was on that show for a while.
Yeah.
And then I think he left and she did it with somebody else and so on and so forth. Power rank, Beadle, Katie Nolan, Chris and Leahy.
Well, that's tough because I do like me some Katie Nolan, but I'm going overall performance. I'm not going just off hotness. I'm going to say likability. You know, I know
What?
that's a shocker. I'm going Beadle 1, Nolan 2, Leahy 3.
Okay.
I don't really care much. He's like Leahy. Whatever. But I do. I think Michelle Beadle is really fun, and Katie Nolan's delightful.
Yeah, she really is.
Yes.
I'm going to go Nolan 1, Beadle 2, Leahy 3.
Understand.
Isn't it Christine Leahy?
I don't know. What did I say?
Kristen Leahy?
Yeah, maybe Christine. Sorry.
Because I was looking her up. I'm like, why don't I know this person? I still like. What is she most known for hosting?
That was it.
Yeah.
Just with Colin.
Just that?
I don't think she's done much since.
Man,
Sounds like she's just chilling with her wine and her.
American
Dorky
Ninja
husband.
Warrior as well. Apparently,
Oh, I do remember that. Still, always number one in my book. Suze.
Katie Nolan. Oh,
Suze.
Suze who? Susie Colbert?
Come on.
Our friend Susie Colbert?
Our friend. She will always be my number one.
Now, we had her in studio.
I find her just, she's wonderful.
She was great.
She is my favorite.
Seemed to like to party.
She is my all-time favorite. I would love to pull a Joe Namath, but I won't because I'm not a Hall of Famer, nor am I drunk or creepy. But I love me some Suze. And Linda Cohn, by the way, too. That may be my 1-2 in all-time female, sports personality power rankings. Suze will always be one, but Linda Cohn right there. She's 1A for me. I would party with Linda Cohn.
she's a gem.
She's awesome. Big hockey gal. Big fan.
I'm going to toss in a Hannah Storm on you.
Yeah, I see where you're going with that.
Greatness.
Yeah. And then let's not forget my gal.
Leslie Visser.
Oh, Visser. Yeah, she's great.
Leslie Visser.
Yeah. Dottie.
Dottie
Oh,
Pepper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, you want to throw down some beers with Dottie.
Oh,
So I've heard.
Yeah, she.
Dottie parties.
Yeah, understand. There's some great ones.
Who are you talking about?
Who do you give me flack for all the
Oh.
time?
National championship game.
You could have married her.
I think something probably could have happened.
Holly Rowe.
Something was there.
She wanted you.
we could have watched film together.
Probably still does.
She longs for that weird night. It was that in Houston or wherever, Dallas. Wherever
No, we
you're
were
at?
in Dallas.
Dallas.
Still the most disappointed I've ever been in you.
I understand. Looking back on it, I understand why. I understand why
Ever.
you're disappointed.
Yeah.
Because I would love a top 10 list of that, by the way.
The list is long. But that was like, come on, dude. That's in your lap.
I know.
Literally and figuratively.
It really was poor form on my part.
Mina Kimes, greatness.
Yeah,
But
she's
I'm not
great.
I'm not terribly familiar. I don't watch her much, but I know she's really good when I have seen her. Okay, can we will
focus?
you
The last like
Do
4
I-
days, we have been the least focused that this
cares?
show has ever been.
you think the boss even listens?
Probably not. Hey, listen, we were talking about renaming ourselves
I was going
1080.
to say only when we threaten to change the name
Change
of the
the
station.
name to 1080 the Jock. He sure was listening then.
1080 the Richard.
It's that time of year. Okay, so poll question is on X at 1080 the fan. It's brought to you by AAA Heating and Cooling, a family business helping families for over 60 years. AAAIAQ.com. Yesterday, the question was, how much will you miss Pac-12 basketball? 45% of you said good riddance. 39% said only a little, and 16% said as much as football.
So what you're saying is that there's not necessarily a huge clamoring for some Pac-12 basketball.
No one cares. Should
Arizona's probably thrilled. They're going to the Big 12.
Yeah,
The Big 12 is still it's the best basketball league, and it just got that much better.
yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Today's question: should Clyde Drexler have a statue in Portland? Yes or no?
Oh,
Vote or vote. Vote. Wait. Vote and vote hard. Vote yes or no.
is this a thing, or did you just kind of conjure this up?
No, this is a thing because he has a son, which I didn't know, but he does, and his son's name is Adam, and Adam has a Twitter account, and Adam tweeted that he didn't understand why Portland did not have a statue of his daddy. And then, of course, that, you know what that does.
Yeah.
That fires up
Was it-
Blazers Twitter.
Was this a while ago?
I saw
I
it
don't
today.
think so. I saw this get legs.
I don't know
Today,
why,
yesterday.
but I seem to remember Drexler's kid doing something before as well. I feel like he may have stirred the pot once or twice before.
His handle is at DrexGlides2.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can pull it up for you.
Does kid play or no?
What?
Does kid play ball?
I have no idea. This is the first I didn't even know he existed. But it says on his Twitter bio, professional athlete.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think he plays overseas.
Adam Drexler.
Yeah. And he's also a composer.
Oh.
And he's a co-host of a podcast, but who isn't?
Boy, he does have a lot of things going on. Looks like he played at Houston.
And he's got hashtag Rip City on his bio too.
All right.
But this was 4 hours ago. He tweets, Rip City, I see I hurt some of your feelings with my statue question. You do realize you can have multiple statues. You can celebrate all the Blazers greats. Bill, Dame, everybody can get a statue. Me personally, two of my favorite players growing up were Brandon Roy and Aldridge. I would love to see them honored in that way.
Oh, God.
I'm
really?
a fan too.
Come on.
But his question was yesterday. He said, hey, Rip City, got a question for you. Why does my father not have a statue in Portland? Well, that got Blazers Twitter going, and then he started mixing it up with people who were saying, I think the overriding theme was Clyde. People here don't think Clyde really cares about Portland. He's a Houston guy.
Yes.
And so people were telling Adam that, and he was not happy about that. Adam would chime back and say, well, he's just very private. Like he doesn't do anything in Houston. He doesn't do anything in Portland. He doesn't do anything. All he does is golf, and he's just a really private guy. So anyway,
Sure.
That's how it went.
Okay.
I did see one person that was getting some traction from the Blazer fan base that said, I worked for the franchise for 10 years and I saw your dad come through the doors once. Maybe if he spent as much time or cared as much about the city as we cared about him when he played, he would have a statue.
Yeah, no, I think
so. And I don't know if that's fair or accurate, but it was
I
one
think it's
response that
fair.
was getting.
I think it's fair when enough people think it.
He's not tied to the city. He's not.
But enough people think that I don't think you can say that's unfair when that really is. It's not like people make up narratives.
No.
Right? Like
They're there for a reason.
Yeah. And that's the narrative with him. Now, I don't know if that means he shouldn't have a statue. I've never thought once about who does and doesn't have a statue. Apparently, no one from Rip City has a statue.
Should there be a requirement to get a statue?
Well, okay.
Well, I think a title.
Well,
that's what I think.
Well, first off, statues.
So to me, the only guy who should have a statue, two guys, are qualify for a statue. Bill Walton and Jack Ramsey. In this city, that's my criteria.
Yeah, I think Lillard one day will have a statue. I hope so. Especially if he comes back and finishes his career here, as I think he wants to. I think he gets a statue. I do. I think he's the greatest player in franchise history. I think he embraced the city like no other. I can see building a statue, but also statues have become kind of, I think this is a fairly new thing. Like it used to be like you really, really had to do something to get a statue. And now I feel like they're just kind of putting them up. If you're a Hall of Famer, like the Lakers, they got a bunch of statues. You go to the Tigers Stadium out there, they got a bunch of statues. You're seeing this more and more. Yankees have Monument Park out there, which I guess is statue light. So I don't know. I just find it weird for anyone, because if you put a statue of Drexler up, it's kind of cool, but I don't know anyone that's clamoring for it. Like in Seattle, the Griffey statue out in front of T-Mobile, they want that.
Yeah,
like the fans there lose their ass,
and they didn't win a title.
They didn't win a title.
He didn't stay there his whole career, but he's iconic.
He's iconic. I mean, there was a brick in front of Safeco when they did that said and Griffey bought it. It's the first one laid, I guess, and it says like to the house that Ken built, and it's got like his kid's name on it. Like Griffey is that team. As great as Drexler was, and I grew up in the peak Drexler era. Drexler's not Portland. When you think of the Portland Trail Blazers, as great as Drexler was, and you can make the argument he's the greatest Blazer of all time. He played, 11, 12 years here, a couple finals appearances. For a while was considered the second or third best player in the league. Dream team. I mean, look, Drexler's bona fides, or you can't
his resume
question.
doesn't need defense.
It's ridiculous. But when I think of Portland, I don't think of Drexler. And that's, and like I said, I grew up here. I think about Kersey more than I do Drexler. I think there's more Kersey, Buck, Porter fans in the city than there are Drexler fans.
And if you had a bunch of statues of those guys already, maybe there'd be an argument for a Drexler one, but you're not going to put one up of him and not have some of those other guys you talked about.
It's a little weird. But then he went down the road of Brandon Roy and LaMarcus. Stop it. Really, you're going to put a statue up for LaMarcus Aldridge? Seriously, that like your whole argument went out the window when you threw that out there. But I could see one. Rob is right though. Like if you're building one, Bill and Jack, like it's a little like in front of the fountain there. If you had one of Jack Ramsey in the plaid and one of Walton in the headband there, if you had that side by side in front of the fountain, that makes sense. That makes sense.
See, I just think we've got so this guy. Drexler's kid is just he's getting a little too wild with the idea of that everyone should have a statue. Like this is not akin to retired jerseys.
No,
statues are special.
Yes,
retired jerseys, and the Blazers have a lot of retired jerseys.
Yes,
don't they
do more so than they should.
Right. So they need to tone that down and like you've got to really have been special to get a statue, and to me, I think you got to bring a title. I don't even think Lillard should have a statue, but they don't. There's no statues. If there were one, if there was one, Drexler would not even be in my top 4. If you had to put one up,
if you had to,
doesn't make your Rushmore.
No, not for Portland.
I'm looking here at the most famous sports statues.
He says. Yeah, who's the most?
Well, like Fenway's got 4 of them out front.
Okay, but well, all right.
Yeah, I mean,
who?
Their 4 is they've got
Teddy?
they got Pesky, they got Teddy Williams. It's like I'm looking here. I'm trying to see it. It says teammates, so I know Pesky and Ted. I'm not sure who the other 2 are. Jim Brown's got one. Pat Tillman's got one out in front of ASU Stadium, which is awesome.
Well, there is a Bill Walton statue in San Diego.
Is there?
Yeah.
Oh,
him and his bike.
The most famous one is Jordan out in front of the.
Well, you got Kobe, right?
Yeah. Well, the Lakers have a couple.
And Dirk.
Yep.
Dirk has one, but again, he brought them a title.
Brought him a title.
That's what I think. That's the line for a statue. You got to have been a champ.
Yeah.
Brought a title to the city.
Yeah, the Lakers have like 5 or 6 now that they've put.
Well, they've got a lot of guys that brought titles.
Don Shula's got one. Warren Spahn's got one. I mean, you're talking Pat Summitt's got one. Joe Paterno had one.
Pat Summitt, I get.
Yeah. Willie Mays.
Joe Pong.
And Willie McCovey.
Yeah, Mays, McCovey, and Juan Marichal all have one at Oracle Park.
So
Bobby Orr.
One of the people tweeted.
That's a great statue because that's the dive, right?
The dive.
Yeah.
One of the people tweeted back at Adam Drexler, and they said, he embraces Houston way more than us. He never publicly supports the Blazers. Maybe if he shows us some more love, because we definitely appreciated him. And Adam Drexler said he never publicly does anything. He is and always has been a private guy. He rarely even does interviews. Well, siblings and I are all born in Portland. We come back to visit at least a few times a year, still have family that lives there. What do you want him to do? Come to your house?
See, it just kind of sounds like sour grapes on the part of a kid. You've got your number retired. Drexler Drive, for God's sakes, in front of the Moda Center. You got a road. You got a number. I don't know. You're upset that
should be enough.
It just seems a little.
So then this guy says, well, wasn't he part of Houston's broadcast team for like 15 years too? It's stuff like this that he does for Houston, but not for Portland. I get he has a long time history with Houston and Hakeem, but I can't remember the last time I saw him attend a Blazer game. And then it says he couldn't even be bothered to attend or comment when Dame got his record. And then Adam Drexler says, well, Nathan, I know that after he was done playing, he was seeking to get into coaching, broadcasting, or management, and the Blazers did not assist with any of those ventures where Houston did. It's not a hate thing. I would say there just wasn't an opportunity.
Yeah, I just feel like anytime you have to, and maybe this is just me, there's 2 things that I don't like that particularly get underneath my bonnet. One, public grieving drives me crazy. Kevin Garnett, I'm looking right at you. The old, hey,
Flip Saunders.
It's the dumbest, it's the most ridiculous thing in the world. Flip Saunders dies, and so Kevin Garnett's like, hey, I'm going to go sit in his parking spot. But hey, everyone make sure you photograph me so I can put it on Instagram. You are such a douche.
Put a nice
unbelievable.
Black and white filter on it.
You're such an asshat at that point. Really? Like, that's what you're doing to honor your dead friend? And the other one is public groveling for status. Like, it drives me. I should be in the Hall of Fame. I should have my jersey retired. I should have this. I should have that. Well, I'm glad you think that. Shut your hole, and hopefully one day the people that the work that you put out there, that the people appreciate it. One of my favorite things about Dale Murphy, and I love Dale Murphy, and Dale Murphy should be in the Hall of Fame. You know who doesn't bitch and moan about Dale Murphy not being in the Hall of Fame? Dale Murphy. He's always like, yeah, well, That's what I did.
I think
and
he's moved on now.
He's moved on, and it's just.
He's like, the situation is what it'll be, and that's fine.
But listening to Pete Rose, fat ass, every 2 seconds, bitching, it just drives me crazy. So Drexler probably, like, if you put up a statue, I'd be like, oh, that's cool. But the fact that your kid is out there beating the drum for you, it makes me not want to put a statue of Drexler up there.
So vote on our poll question. It is, let's see here, at 1080 The Fan on X. Should Clyde Drexler have a statue in Portland? Yes or no?
This is going to be overwhelmingly no, by the way.
Yeah, I don't think he is
no for as good
beloved as like Kersey certainly was.
Yeah,
and like Porter even.
Is Drexler? This is a separate poll question, but is there, because Drexler was great. I mean, unquestioned greatness. 12 years here, I think. Has there been someone that has played longer and was greater in a city that is just kind of meh, like Clyde is? I mean, because in most places, when you have that career for that long, like, you are beloved, and I don't think he's beloved here. He's appreciated,
now,
but I don't think he's beloved.
Did the Salt Lake people, is the Karl Malone, John Stockton?
They loved them. Now,
I feel like both guys are kind of schmucks to the point where the cities kind of don't like them.
I'd be interested to see now, but when I was there, they could do no wrong. And so I was there. I was in Utah during the peak. I mean, I was there during the Jordan finals, the final shot. I'm telling you, every other dealership was Karl Malone, and John Stockton could have run for. John Stockton wasn't Mormon, and he could have been prophet of the LDS Church. They loved those two guys. Now with the whole COVID thing and Carl's pedophilia, I don't know. I don't know if the shine has come off, but at one point,
life comes at you fast.
They were like Malone, especially was like, he was a folk hero there. He drove around in an 18-wheeler, like, with the full-on trailer that was custom painted, and he would work like. Karl Malone was like Paul Bunyan there in Utah.
Another guy says, I don't think Clyde has had a presence in Portland in 30 years, never shown much love. There's your answer.
Yeah.
And Adam Drexler says, well, what kind of presence do you want him to have? This always throws me for a loop. He's retired, never wanted the spotlight, and spends his time golfing. It's weird to hear Portland fans say someone who spent 10 years and raised a family there say that he didn't embrace the city. So he just doesn't get it.
Yeah. That's why you're not getting a statue.
Yeah.
So
and statue.
You're not.
I don't think he's statue worthy anyway.
No, it's not happening.
Not many Blazers are.
Let it go, Adam.
At least in my opinion.
Let it go.
So there's your poll. Vote when we come back.
Oh, by the way, best statue, Rocky. Hello.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty good one.
It is
very famous.
It's the best.
We will get to My Thunder coming up next.
Yeah.
Here's Buck. Buck. Yeah.
Is
that his name?
That is my name.
Hello.
Now, from the Fan Sports
going to hear from Chip Kelly.
You guys shut up.
And Nick Saban.
Shut up.
That'll be coming up.
Did you read the piece on Saban today?
Yeah.
At ESPN?
Oh, yeah. It's juicy.
Yeah.
We'll get to it. Real quick, though, since we're already short on time, with hot statue talk, we are shockingly behind. My Thunder are in town tonight.
Yes.
I love my Thunder.
You have been on the Thunder bandwagon for several years. I'll give you credit for that.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes getting 50,000 first-round draft picks,
It helps.
it works.
Yeah.
Now, the Blazers tank is going pretty well
Yeah.
because they've pulled the chute. I mean, I don't know if Grant's playing tonight, but
I didn't like those 2 wins against Memphis, but, hey,
well,
you can't lose them all. Or can you?
it was a tank off.
It
and
was
Memphis
a
won
takeoff.
that.
Yeah.
So the Blazers have since pulled the plug on Grant since then, right?
Like,
They're like, wait a minute,
He's
whoa,
questionable tonight.
do we like,
questionable. Okay.
the lineup is boy, it's something special when you look at it now.
Yeah, and I was just looking at Tankathon. They've got a shot at a top 3 pick here.
Yeah, because I think in the West, only San Antonio has a worse record than they do.
Well, they're only they're a few back, 4.5, I think, of San Antonio. And the Spurs, they've been better of late, haven't they?
No, they've won like 3 of 10.
Wemby's good. The rest of the
Wemby's
team
good.
completely
The rest
sucks.
of the team stinks.
Oh, didn't they beat somebody the other night? They beat somebody good.
I think you're right. They did. Wemby put on a show, but they don't do that very often.
They had that battle against Chet. That was a great performance. But the Pistons and the Wizards, you're not going to catch. But you're going to have the 3rd or 4th worst record in the NBA.
Yeah. So that could mean the 3rd or 4th pick.
Could be the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, you never know.
Although you don't hear
Who's the number 1 pick next
I
year?
know, as I say, that you keep hearing that it's not a very strong draft, and I don't
Great.
I don't know who the consensus number 1 pick is this year.
I don't either.
Probably,
Well, anyway,
probably someone that you've never heard of.
I was looking at the odds to win the title. You think the Thunder at plus 2,500 are a decent bet?
That's a good value.
2,500.
By the way, that NBA DraftNet has that forward out of Colorado, that Cody Williams kid.
All right.
So, hey, it's the Pac-12!
Not for much longer.
No, that would be in the
Don't play intramurals, brother.
And number 2 is some power forward out of France.
I'll take him.
There you go. He's
No,
6'9"
there you
and looks like he weighs like 7 pounds.
Anyway, so Boston is plus 230. Denver is plus 450.
Yeah.
The Clips are plus 475, and Milwaukee's plus 700. Those 4 are in a class of their own. Then,
Give me the Nugs plus 450. I like that one the best.
yeah,
Denver's going to be just fine.
I think Boston's a pretty good. I mean, you still get plus money on Boston.
Yeah.
For sure, the value is just so much better on Denver. I mean, you get making twice as much money if that one cashes as Boston.
Yeah, but I mean, so far, Boston looks like a better team.
Yeah, but again, this is
And they have an
Denver
easier
doesn't
road.
care. I feel
this is
like.
what Colin was yakking about today. Was they've just completely annihilated the Eastern Conference, but they haven't been dominant in close games or against better competition. So I think this is kind of the rub on Boston, which is why we were talking about this the other day. I was like, with Boston, there isn't a little element of prove it, and Boston's been good and made finals, and I don't know. There's just something where a lot of people don't trust Tatum and Brown when it comes down. I know they've added Porzingis in the middle, but I don't know. I just think there's some people that are a little wary of Boston's track record and their coach.
I mean, it's so funny what a championship will do to you. It's
It changes everything.
it changes everything. Like, think about how we were talking about Jokic before they won the title.
Yeah.
He was in sort of the Doncic category,
Yeah.
if you will, right? Like, and now Doncic is going to have to win a title in order to get into the Jokic category, and that's true of Tatum too. And look, you have to put your money where your mouth is. You have to win one. But I don't know. It seems to me that Boston is certainly good enough to do so.
I just think the idea is that there's this, like, in the East, it feels like it's Boston and everyone else, and then in the West, I mean, the 3rd best team in the West is the one that everyone's obviously talking about, in the Nuggets. But
Well, that's
Minnesota,
why-
Oklahoma City, Denver, the Clippers. By the way, would you say the Clippers were like 750?
Four
Plus
seventy.
475.
470? It's not a bad thing ever. LA has been pretty good, and they've been healthy.
That's why I think Boston at still getting plus 230. I mean,
Some value there.
they should waltz through the East,
They should.
and then
Watch
they would
Miami knock them off.
then they would have to beat one team from the West, and then the steal could be the Sixers. The Sixers are sitting there at plus 2,200.
If Embiid comes back.
If he comes back, boy, you got that ticket in your pocket.
Have we seen anything on the meniscus thing with Embiid? Do we have any?
They said March.
March?
That's what they said.
Yeah.
And so Oklahoma City and Minnesota are the same odds, plus 2,500, below all of those teams.
I think the thing
That's
with
crazy.
Oklahoma City is there's just the idea that they're just too young and that they're going to have
Well,
to take their
They probably are.
they're going to have to take their lumps. But
Still, that's pretty. I mean, 2,500.
I'll tell you right now, if you're talking futures, there's not a single team in the NBA, including San Antonio with this generational player in Wemby. There's not a single team in the NBA that I would take the next, let's go 6 years, that I would take over Oklahoma City's. And if Oklahoma City ever does decide that they want to go all in and flip and go grab a marquee player at the trade deadline, they certainly have the picks and the young assets to go do it. They could blow it up and not blow it up, but they could go add.
No, the war chest is loaded, and
Yes.
when they decide to go for it,
Yes.
they'll be able to do that.
They imagine a team like Oklahoma City right now, and how many years ago where Toronto couldn't get over the hump, and so Toronto just went out and was like, "Oh, screw it." Where they gave up DeRozan and some picks or whatever, and they went and got this Kawhi Leonard guy. And I know it was only for 1 year, but it led them to a championship. Oklahoma City can make that swinge here in a year or two when they feel like they're ready and go land a Kawhi Leonard type player to add to that roster. And it's going to be scary good because their best players are babies and they're just getting better.
All right, well, Blazers tanking. Probably shouldn't win tonight. They've lost to Oklahoma City 3 times.
Yeah, they lost to them twice by like a combined 80 points or something.
Yeah, it was a lot. But then the next time,
Yeah.
Blazers almost got them.
They battled tough. What's the spread tonight?
I haven't seen.
13.5 is the last that I saw.
I'll tell you right now, I'm laying that all day long.
Well, that's what you said against Minnesota.
That's what I said against Minnesota. Yeah, that's right.
and
But
they covered.
I
Blazers.
I like Oklahoma City.
The
in this
upstart Blazers.
one, who are starting tonight. Jeremy Grant's not going to go probably. Does
Hey.
anyone think that Jeremy Grant's toughing this one out tonight?
As long as Murray's playing,
That's all that matters.
you're going to lose. All right. Coming up, you're going to hear from Chip Kelly and what Nick Saban said about leaving their posts. It is 3:56 on the Fan.
It's the Vancouver Ford text line.
Plenty of time to talk sports today.
One number does it all. 503-864-6FAN. For contests and text in your favorite fan hosts about today's hot topics. Brought to you by Vancouver Ford. Your dollar goes further at Vancouver Ford. They treat you right before, during, and after the sale. Visit VancouverFord.com. The Vancouver Ford text line. 503-864-6326. That's 503-864-6FAN.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
March is a critical time to check your home's windows. Hey, it's Rob. Call the pros at Window Nation. Right now, for every 2 windows you buy, you'll get 2 windows free. Plus, 0 down, 0 interest, and no payments for 24 months. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com now.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company
Join us for Fan Madness. Do you remember Fan Madness?
Yes, I do.
Do you remember that?
Yeah,
Wasn't that fun?
it was fun.
Last year, we were out there getting all
Alien?
mad.
Yeah, that's right.
We were at A.
Busting brackets.
It's presented this year by Warren Allen Attorneys at Law. It will be Thursday and Friday, March 21 and 22 at Stadium Sports Bar at A Sportsbook. It's the single best place in the area to watch the big dance.
And more importantly, you can gamble there. I mean, come on.
Noon to 7 each day with live shows. George McCoy at Warren Allen Attorneys at Law. Injuries and missing work ruining your day? Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com. He'll make him pay.
I like it. It's a great tagline right there.
So that's March 21 and 22. We're going to be out there again this year. It should be fun.
Put us right there in the corner. Come say hi.
Make sure you join us, dudes.
That's where we had that weird, awkward moment where we thought that old lady was dead, and or like her husband or whatever.
Yeah.
He was like playing blackjack.
Well, look, he needed to get out of the house.
Yeah,
But then he heard you talking about him, and then you kept talking, and Suk was very uncomfortable. I remember all this from back here.
It was uncomfortable. He kept looking over his shoulder.
It was uncomfortable. The
It was
guy
a scene.
heard us because there was a speaker that we didn't know about.
But then you
and then
didn't stop.
The deal. Well, no, it's a cat's out of the bag. Let's just hash it out.
Let's just talk about it.
And then the dealer stared us down. Like
Yeah.
he was looking at us like, dude, what are you doing to me here?
It's
Quit
like,
blowing up my spot.
got something cooking here.
Well, I mean, it was really sad. I
It
mean,
was. There was an old man, and he was playing blackjack, and his we assume his wife was there beside him in a wheelchair, and she
was dead.
She was dead.
She was in a wheelchair,
Yes.
propped up like Weekend at Bernie's
Yeah.
with a blanket over her.
it was a thing.
I remember you guys reporting that she moved, though, so she wasn't dead.
Well, I think he moved her. Like he reached out after he heard us talking, and he kind of gave her like a shake. I don't know if that was a tremor or an aftershock, but we did see some sort of movement. And it was the only movement we saw, and he was there for like 2 hours.
Yeah. But then we were chastised. I think
Yeah.
a lot of people in our
they-
camp were like, "Hey, shut up. Maybe he needs to get out of the house and like he he probably doesn't get a break. He's a caregiver.
So again,
Wants to play a little blackjack."
Look, all I know is it was awkward for everybody, and we may have made it worse. It was a real Larry David sort of moment.
I loved it, and I loved her.
Yes,
That's the kind of thing we're gonna be
hoping
doing out
we're
there.
hoping that wherever you're at, you're doing good, old lady.
March 21, March 22, Thursday, Friday, Stadium Sports Bar, A. Should be fun. All right, up next, hear from Chip Kelly and why he is happier than ever. It is 4:03 on the Fan. All right, now to football. We've got dueling quotes. One we have the audio of, the other we got to read it to you in our best Nick Saban voice. But yeah, exactly. Doesn't he say that a lot?
It's like his
Yeah. It's like Dan Lanning is always saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't he?
We all have.
Yeah, he says right.
Yeah, we have little ticks.
Right?
Yeah.
Doesn't he say right all the time, or is that the word he says?
That's right. That's right.
Right. Yeah, right. So we'll read you Nick Saban's quotes on why he left.
There was a big piece in ESPN today.
Yeah, it was good.
I hope we elect to kick ass is what I hope we do.
I thought the more interesting stuff was Greg Byrne kind of documenting how it all went down.
Yeah.
From Saban to DeBoer.
49. It was like Saban to DeBoer in 49 hours.
Yep. But first, Chip Kelly. We have the audio of this. Now, Chip is at Ohio State.
This is the weirdest. Of all the developments of college football, and there's just so many of them, the strangest one is Chip Kelly leaving UCLA's head coaching job. And what was it, like $12 million on the table or whatever it was to go be Ohio State's offensive coordinator?
What's he making at Ohio State? Do we know?
I don't, but probably somewhere
million and a
half, something like that.
Well, Chip finally spoke to the media about why he made the move, and here's what he said.
I do a lot of things other people don't do, so I don't know if that's right or wrong, but I think it started when we were preparing for our bowl game. Ryan Gunderson, who's a great quarterback coach, left to go to Oregon State as the coordinator, so he wasn't there. So I actually coached the quarterbacks during the bowl game, and I just started to think, like, I hadn't actually coached a position since 2008. And then I think my wife remarked, she's like, I haven't seen you this happy in a long time. And to me, the best part of football is football. And so you got to do football and not do some of the things that involve with the head coaching deal. And I had a chance after we beat Boise in the bowl game, and as we started recruiting, just to kind of think about what that experience was like. And then I get to make the decision on what my future is going to be. And so what do I want to do? So I started to look into, is there an opportunity, and it would have been the right spot to go somewhere and just coach a position again and be back with that group. Because I think as a head coach, you sit in on position meetings, but then you're always getting pulled out. And there's other things that are involved with being a head coach. And I think it's more of a CEO operation right now. It's the job and the landscape, as we all know, of college football has changed. So I just thought at the time that, there's a story about John Lennon when he was a little kid that had an assignment of what do you want to be when you grow up? And he said, I want to be happy. And then his teacher said, I don't think you understand the assignment. And his mom said, I don't think you understand life. So I just want to be happy. And I'm really happy coaching a position, really happy to be at this place. It would have taken a special place for me to leave UCLA because I love those players and I love that coaching staff. But to be here with Ryan, I had a great relationship. I've known Ryan since he was a little kid. So I think a lot of things just fell into place that way.
How about that?
I believe 90% of what he said there, but you can't say that it took a special place when you literally interviewed at every single place that had an offensive coordinator opening.
Unless you consider anywhere not Westwood to be special. You and I talked about this a little bit before the show. I do think he sounds really genuine there, but saying it would have taken a special place, okay.
I mean, I don't dismiss the fact that he's made a bunch of money. He hates recruiting. And by the way, you got to read between the lines. He hates the responsibility of being a head coach.
He said as much.
Yeah, well, we know that.
Yes.
I mean, he said everything that we've always known about him. So in that way, he was being very honest. I think there was one line in there, and I jotted it on my notepad here, that he glossed right over that I think says everything about where he's coming from. He said, I get to make the decision on my future.
Yeah.
That he glossed right over it, but I believe what he was saying there is, I wasn't long for UCLA.
Yeah.
Because of, I don't really like being a head coach. And, oh, by the way, I'm guessing, and he couldn't say this, but I'm guessing he did not have a very good relationship with them, and they were going to fire him anyway.
They almost fired his ass, was it a year and a half, 2 years ago?
So he went out saying, and he realized, I believe him when he says Gunderson left, he goes and works with the quarterback. He's like, football's football.
Hey.
The best part about football
is football.
And
he doesn't need the money.
And I believe him that made him realize, like, dude, what am I doing? I don't need, I may be out of here in a year anyway, and I'm not going to let them dictate that. I'm going to dictate that, and so I'm going to go look for another job, which leads to your point of that's why he interviewed all over the place. So I feel like he was just taking matters into his own hands, And I do believe him when he says, look, I just want to be happy. And that's what makes him happy. And so that's the type of job that he sought. Honestly, that's refreshing to me that a man in this business says that and actually puts his money where his mouth is, and he does that, and he leaves all that money on the table.
Well, we have learned a couple things today, boys. We've learned that Chip wants to be happy, and more importantly, once again, we have learned that football is football.
Football's football.
Yeah, I thought, Isaac, you were going to say that the one sentence that he kind of glossed over, but we needed to look at was the football is football.
Football is football.
Football is football.
Football's football. Football is football.
Football's football.
It's universal at this point.
Football's football.
Who has not said that?
We all know that football is football.
And there's Chip saying it.
There's Chip.
Football's football.
Football's football.
The best part is
and then
Chip,
there's you and him saying,
yeah.
Football is football.
I'm going to have to go back and look. I think he did a triple football is football is football.
I think you're right. I think
I'm
the
gonna go
best
grab
part
it.
about football is football, and that's the greatest thing about football.
Football's football. Football is football.
Football is football.
We love football. Well, anyway, I think he's great.
Good-
and I
good
think
for
he's,
him.
And it does seem like he's at a good place in his life where he doesn't, he's over being a head coach. He's just over it.
Yeah. If he's ever a head coach again, it'll be at some small. He'll go back to
He'll go to New
He'll go to
Hampshire.
New Hampshire or something. But he's
Shut up.
he's done. He just was never meant to be a college coach, and it's a shame because he was a really good one. But especially in today's world, in order to be successful, the main component is the thing that he hates more than anything else. So he just can't do it. He can't, and I don't think he will again. And how old is Chip's? Got to be in his 60s now, right?
I don't think
He
he's
just
that
turned
old.
60.
Just turned 60.
He's 60?
Yeah, he's been around a while, man. My guess is that you will never see him be a head coach again at a major institution,
And that's the way he wants
that's
it.
the way he wants it.
Smart man.
Yeah,
Quite
I'm sure
frankly.
that John Lennon quote is absolute horse crap, but it's a fun anecdote. And
What do you mean?
well,
you don't think it really...
No, I don't think it happened. This is like every time you're on Instagram or whatever, someone's like, my little boy today said the most amazing thing. And he's like, no, he didn't, Susan. You made that up. So John Lennon, when he was 6, did not go to his teacher and say happy, and then his mom responded with that clever quip. It's a nice anecdote.
That's what he said it happened.
It's a nice little
That's a quote from John Lennon.
it's a wonderful little story.
So you're saying John Lennon is a liar? Is that what you're saying?
You ever go to church and you sit in church and they always tell you some story and it's always the most vague details. It's always some super dramatic thing about a mother and a son, but there's never any detail to it. It's a parable.
No,
It's
I
just
don't know what you're talking about.
It's just a story.
That's exactly why I don't go to church.
It's just a story.
It's all bullshit.
That's what this was. It was.
You are
fun
calling
little-
John Lennon a liar. Here is the quote.
Yeah.
When I was 5 years old, my mother always told me that happiness was the key to life.
Sure.
When I went to school, they asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I wrote down happy. They told me I didn't understand the assignment, and I told them they didn't understand life.
John Lennon did that at 5 years old.
That's right.
Let me just say for the record, that didn't happen.
Oh, that happened.
And he remembers that from when he was 5 years old because we all
yeah.
remember so many things at 5.
When I was in 4th grade, we were asked what we wanted to be when we grow up, and I thought it was a little weird that a kid wanted to be a kitty cat for 4th grade. I still remember that to this day.
All right.
Seems a little old for that.
Thanks for that.
I think when I was like 5, I think I peed my pants and was happy that I wore black jeans.
Nice.
And thought that if I just kept it quiet long enough, maybe I could sneak away to the bus. I think that was my big concern when I was 5.
All right, now to Nick Saban and what he had to say about why he left. That story on ESPN.com today.
Did he leave because football's football?
It is, well, yeah.
I mean, duh.
I don't think we have Saban saying it.
Actually, I think he might be leaving because football's not football.
Athletics is athletics.
Football is no longer football.
Football's football.
Football's football. Football's football.
God, that was all on our show,
I love it.
I think.
We need to get Dan Lennon to drop a football is football.
Hasn't he?
I don't know, but if he does, I'm telling you right now, next year it is going to be my goal to lure him into a football is football.
Can you get us the latest Chip Kelly football is football? We can add it to the...
It's in the works.
Definitely feel
Love
like
that.
that needs to be put in
Love
there.
that. All right, it is 4:18 on the Fan.
The home of
So you got to do football.
Yeah.
The best part of football is football. And so you got to do football.
I don't do football anymore, and
Football is football. Football is football.
maybe I got to start doing more football.
Football's football.
But he's right. You got to do football.
The best part of football is football. And so you got to do football.
How do I do football? Where can a 46-year-old man just go do football?
He's so right, though. I've never thought about it like that.
It's a very John Lennon-esque poetic sort of thing.
The best part of football is indeed football. Not baseball, not basketball. So you got to do the football.
Got to do it. Maybe go talk to Fentress. I think he still coaches that old man football league.
Fentress.
Yeah, Aaron Fentress. I think he's the coach of the Portland Raiders, and he's proud of it too. I think
good for him.
Yeah, he loves it. He's like an
I
offensive.
bet you he thinks football's football.
He's an offensive mastermind.
Football is football.
All right, now to Nick Saban. Here's what he said. So we just played Chip Kelly's quote.
Yeah, great article today on ESPN. You should give it a whirl.
Yeah, it's about how it all went down with Sabes. And the thing that we were kind of speculating at the time he stepped down was how long in advance Greg Byrne, the AD at Alabama, knew Saban was leaving. Mm-hmm. And the answer is kind of in the middle of what we said. We thought maybe Byrne knew about this way ahead of time because Saban, I don't know, he's just not the type to just instantly go, okay, bye, without any warning.
Yeah, and he thought so much of Alabama, and he still has an office there and everything, so you would think that he would give him some sort of heads up if he was indeed planning on leaving.
And that was true.
Yes.
I guess after the 2022 season, Saban went to Greg Byrne and he said, I don't know how much longer I can do this.
Yeah, so it wasn't like, hey, I'm leaving right now, but he let him know,
he was thinking about it.
I'm not long for the world.
So after they lost to Michigan in the college football playoff, Byrne was not expecting Saban to step down. So on the other hand, it was kind of like, oh crap. But Byrne had to have been ready. I mean, he knew that Saban wasn't that long for the job. So, I'm sure he was prepared.
There was a list and obviously where you're going. It just caught him off guard a little bit.
So he said, well, we'll get to what Byrne said.
He got over 1,000 text messages, by the way, over that 49-hour period.
We'll split this into two. So the Byrne thing, I think, is actually the more interesting part of the article, but it's not the part that's making headlines. No. I just think it's interesting to see, at least from his perspective, how it all went down in a matter of basically 2 days, that they went from Saban being the coach to Saban not being the coach to Kalen DeBoer being the coach.
Yeah.
And then how does Dan Lanning fit into all that? We'll get to that at 5:15. But Saban said, and he's making headlines for this, Saban said after they lost to Michigan, I want to be clear that this wasn't the reason, but some of those events certainly contributed. I was really disappointed in the way that our players acted after the game. You got to win with class. You got to lose with class. We had our opportunities to win the game when we didn't do it. And then showing your ass and being frustrated and throwing helmets and doing that stuff, that's not who we are and what we've promoted in our program. Okay, so then he goes on to say the college football landscape, just the same thing Chip Kelly said, is changing, and that did influence his decision. He estimates that maybe 70 to 80% of the players you talk to wanted to know about their playing time for the upcoming season and how much money they would be making in NIL.
And this goes along with the report that Feinbaum had, that the day after they got back after the Michigan loss, I believe the report was like 17 to 20 players came into Saban asking, where's mine? And that was the report, and that supposedly was one of the final straws.
Yeah, a bunch of guys saying, I'm going to need a bag for next season.
Yeah, and so on one hand, he sounds like an old man who isn't going to adapt.
Yeah.
At the same time, being 73 and that successful the old way, I can totally see why it's easier to just step out.
And to be fair, Saban had adapted a lot and had become less rigid, had become more offensive prone and spread. And
but he fought it, though. He
fought it.
Same dude said that we should outlaw the spread.
Yep, and hurry up offenses,
or hurry up,
no huddle and all that.
Yeah,
and and he had obviously navigated the world of giving players money before. I mean, there was reports years ago. Was it one of their tackles that got busted? I mean, I'm trying to remember who it was. Was it Alex Leatherwood? I mean, there was a bunch of guys that had been caught. You know, we know Alabama had been paying guys, but isn't it crazy that paying people illegally was way easier than paying people legal? Like that, it's so strange that the old system of bagmen and hush money and under the table dealings and Cam Newton and church funds and all that,
it kind of just figured itself out.
Was way easier than the NIL days where you can legally give kids basically whatever they want.
Well, yeah, because he didn't really have to deal with it.
No.
He's the head coach. It's all just handled.
Yeah, but that's the way NIL is supposed to. But now the kid can come directly to Nick Saban and be like,
Instead of it being like the kid goes to a person and then the person tells a donor and the donor tells Saban, I need some money.
So look, he's an old dude. I get it. He's just not going to play in these reindeer games. And quite frankly, he has adapted, but at the same time, in his defense, college football has changed dramatically.
Yes.
Over the last
2 years.
Yeah. I mean, not even that. Yeah. Basically a year and a half.
Yeah. NIL changed everything.
And so that is more where he's coming from. The previous changes were a little slower, and he did adapt to a lot of those. But this one, he's like, yeah, peace out. Yeah. So I don't blame him. He said that he called. Did you see the 2 coaches that he spoke to about retiring?
Yeah, he spoke to a couple coaches and some former players as well.
Well, he spoke to 2 coaches about retiring because he and his wife always go to Florida right at the end of the season, and they sit down there and hang out. And he said that his wife didn't even know that he was going to bring up that he was going to retire, that he wanted to talk about retiring in those days in Florida right after the season. Bill Parcells and Gene Stallings were the 2 head coaches that he spoke to. Parcells because he has a home right there in the same neighborhood.
When I was reading that, I assumed that Belichick would have been one. You know, they're both kind of coming to the end there, and they have that relationship. But yeah, I guess Bill's just right there, and then that's something. You're just like hanging out, and then, oh, by the way, there's Bill Parcells. Hey,
good guy to talk to.
Absolutely.
And Saban said that both of the guys told him that you never really know if it's the right time. You're just never going to know. But in the back of your mind, you kind of do know. Yeah. And he said, that makes sense. Yep. And he knew. Yep. Saban knew that he wanted to leave, and so he told the AD when he got back.
Yeah. And that's when, kind of Byrne had to go into the hyperactive mode. And Byrne was supposedly, I guess it was, according to this, it was Mike Norvell and DeBoer that were 1 and 1A on his list.
So we'll get to that coming up at 5:15. I do want to go through that and how Dan Lanning fit into all that. They mentioned him in there. That'll be 5:15. But up next, we've got to get on to the In the News Seggy. We've got another train death. Is shoplifting a veggie tray worth it when you make $150,000 a year? I don't know. You tell me. And have a blessed day. Yeah, here's a 2x2 to the knee. How about that?
Seems a bit rough.
That's a tease.
Yeah.
Yep. That's all next. Here's Buck.
Now,
What's more overrated, the Oreo cookie or In-N-Out burger?
Boy, no one stands in line for the Oreo cookie, so unfortunately I'm going to say the In-N-Out burger. But I'd much rather have an In-N-Out than an Oreo. In-N-Out is a better burger than Oreo is a cookie.
Now, how about In-N-Out versus Girl Scout cookies?
It's the same thing.
What about Girl Scout cookies versus Oreo cookies?
That's
more
tough.
overrated.
The Girl Scout cookie is more overrated. Because everyone kind of realizes that Oreo cookies are just bastard, generic, mass-produced, whatever. But somehow we think that Girl Scout cookies aren't. It's the exact same thing. It's the same crappy size. They're not good cookies. They're just mass-produced, but they just are sold by a bunch of cute kids, and so we get schnookered into it.
Sometimes cute.
That's true. I'm not even. Never mind. I was gonna say something. I'm not. Just gonna steer clear of that.
Are you kidding me?
You can take your Halloween and shove it up your little kid ass.
Like Russ kids run here selling cookies. He's got adorable little girls. They could probably snooker you into buying a box or 6.
Yeah, I always buy.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want them to. I don't know.
I just give them money.
I buy them and send them to my nieces.
Yeah, they like them.
Well, yeah. And they always sell them. I just buy them and send them to their address.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they can double sell them. I don't know.
My brother did that and it pissed a lot of people off. My mom would buy like fundraising candy from people and buy a lot of it. And I remember my brother, like in high school, would take the candy that she bought and then would go to school and undersell the people still trying to sell theirs.
Wow.
Yeah. It was kind of a bastard move, but at the same time, it was one of the things that I actually kind of admired. I was like, that's...
Can't knock the hustle.
Yeah.
Respect.
Yeah. Like the dance team would be selling candy bars and my mom would buy like 1,000 boxes of them. And they'd be like, whatever it was, like $3 a bar. My brother would go to school and sell them for like $1. Because we'd have all these candy bars and no one would eat them. They were gross bastard, like, fundraising treats. So my brother would just go and sell them.
I remember those candy bars.
Right?
Those were not good.
No, they were just like the generic... I don't even know who made those. They were
like generic chocolate. I think we would get chocolate with almond, and you just get forced upon you by the school or whoever, and then you just have to get rid of them and bring the cash back.
I went over to my buddy's house the other day. His kid ended up getting a bad concussion, so I went over there to kind of cheer him up. I brought him a little something, like a hey, get well present. And their other son is playing baseball at Hawkinson, and they hit me up for the fundraiser. And you know what they're selling for their fundraiser at Hawkinson's for their baseball team? It's the worst fundraising thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh, I thought it was going to be awesome, like whiskey.
No, that would be something if kids were out selling me,
Is it consumable?
Yes, it's consumable.
Cotton candy.
The worst
Lifesavers.
Oranges. He wanted to sell me a box of oranges.
Like fresh oranges?
Yeah, I'm like, what am I going to do?
Where are you going to eat them?
That's what I said. And by the way, it's not little. It's literally a giant crate of oranges. And it was like $40. And I was like, can I just give you the $40? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, what am I going to do with that many oranges? How many oranges can I consume?
Squeeze some OJ.
I guess. But of all the things
that's not bad.
Oranges?
Yeah.
A big box of oranges.
The problem is they're perishable. So if you I think with these fundraisers, what's often good for the people trying to fundraise is, I'll buy 6 or I'll buy a dozen. Like, you can't buy that many oranges because they're just going to go bad.
Exactly. I can only eat so many oranges. You could have sold me anything. You could have sold me drinks. You could have sold me a case of Costco water that I overpaid. At least I'd have water that I could consume over a period of time. And I was like, is it seriously like, he goes, yeah, it is a full-on giant box of oranges. How many of those oranges could I have eaten? 4? 5 before they went bad?
Where do they come from?
I don't know. Believe me, I tried to press him on this and he's like, what do you want from me, man? He's like, do you want to buy the oranges or not? I was like, I'll just give you the money. I'll support your baseball cause. I don't want your oranges.
There's a guy that comes and sells oranges. He sets up a table right outside our fence.
Yeah.
On the street.
Mine too. It's becoming a thing.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I was like, when I first saw it, I'm like, he should do flowers, not oranges.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the guys sell flowers out there.
Mm-hmm.
But, dude, people stop all the time to buy oranges from him.
This is something going on, I'm telling you. The exact same thing. Right around the corner, like 50 feet from my house, there is a family, a little Hispanic family that is out there, and they sell oranges, rain or shine, every single day.
It's a thing.
When did that start? Because I'm seeing it pop up a lot.
I don't know, and I don't know why oranges? Maybe they're just cheap.
And by the way, they're not selling 1 or 2 oranges.
Yeah,
Again,
boxes.
it's a big
They're bags.
Who needs all those oranges?
Yeah, it's the produce you didn't know you needed.
Sell me a watermelon. I'll eat a watermelon.
Yeah, but, well, yeah, I don't know. Maybe get them on the air.
I'm just not sure fundraising with fruit is the ticket.
Yeah. Hawkinson's baseball team, you know what? Be better. You could have sold me anything there. And oranges? Come on.
Gentlemen, we have another train death.
Yeah.
A high school student at Canby has passed.
No one covers train deaths like us.
Well, there's not much info on this. His name was Mason Warshaw. He was struck and killed crossing the tracks. We don't know much more than that.
No.
Probably headphones.
Yeah, I can't believe it happens so often, and I say the same. How do you get hit by a freight train?
Just not paying attention.
Yeah, today I was getting ready to come down to the studio. I got the Amtrak train was coming across, and I had because I knew this story. I was thinking the exact same thing of, as I watched that giant thing roll by, I was like, who gets hit by that thing? I don't know how you not see it coming, but people say it's a thing. It happens all the time.
Continually happens, yes, and we've discussed it. We've had exposés on this. Trains are shockingly quiet.
Yes, even though every time I see them, they're shockingly loud. I know. I've never once had a train go by me and thought, you know what? It's real quiet. I always think the same thing. Jeez, that thing's loud.
A group representing city and county managers in Oregon announced Monday that it had censured. Yeah, I got it right. Yeah. I had to double check that. And expelled Janelle Howard.
She gone.
After determining her egregious conduct while the city manager of Brookings had violated the organization's code of ethics. Now, do you want to guess what she did?
Sold oranges.
No. No. She
was there a second thought there?
Like, wait, was she selling
Actually,
oranges?
hold on a second.
Oranges stuffed with cocaine and fentanyl.
She was cited in 2022 for third-degree theft after security cameras at the Fred Meyer next to the City Hall captured her, who earned $151,000 a year, stealing 2 things. Toilet paper and a veggie tray. Together, the total, $15.98.
That's a $150,000 a year job.
Yeah.
For toilet paper. And what was the other one?
A veggie tray.
A veggie tray.
Yeah.
Now, can I ask the
Stole a
question?
veggie tray.
And I don't know if this matters or not. Did you just go in and steal toilet paper and veggie trays, or did you buy a bunch of groceries and just not pay for the toilet paper and the veggie tray? I think that matters.
If it were an oversight, it definitely matters. But if you went to go shopping and pick up 2 things and you walked away with 2 things you didn't pay for, that's different.
I know this
doesn't say.
This is semantics, but if you went in and you spent $300 and below your shopping cart, in the well there, you had a veggie tray and toilet paper, and you walked out with it, and they, and granted, you should have been like, hey, you didn't buzz these. But if they didn't, and that lady was like, haha, I just got over $15 on the local Kroger. It's a kind of an a-hole move. I'm not going to say you should be fired. I think that's different than going in and stealing toilet paper and veggie trays. But at the same time, I have a hard time believing that you just walked in, grabbed a big thing of toilet paper and a veggie tray, and walked out.
Yeah, it doesn't say.
I need details.
All it says is that she was captured on camera stealing 2 items. She was stealing them.
Can't do it.
$16 worth of stuff.
Do more people steal stuff than we realize? I mean,
probably.
You always see those theft numbers, and they're just enormous, like billions. And
yeah,
I wonder how many of those are just normal people that are like, I'm not paying. You know what? That line's pretty long. I'm just taking this Charmin and I'm walking out.
Well, you say you don't understand how people get hit by trains. I don't understand this. Like, I get it if you're down on your luck and you're trying to live and steal food or something.
Yeah. But this is where you cut corners.
$150 G's a year. That's pretty good salary, dude.
Yeah, inflation's tough, man.
$16 a veggie tray and toilet paper. What are you doing? It's like the guy we used to have a guy here who was a producer, and I forget what station he worked at.
I remember this.
This dude was a pretty good. Well, he was good at what he did, at least so they said, and made decent money here. He wasn't just some Ryan Buckley type producer, He was like high up. No, I'm just kidding. He was probably the Ryan Buckley level of producer, like a good professional radio guy.
Yes, he was.
You know? And he stole a bunch of CDs.
Yeah.
And
Just
they fired him.
Free CDs that we give out to other people that had he just asked and was like, hey, can I have a couple of these? They probably would have said yes, but he took like a box of like Tim McGraw CDs and they canned his ass.
Now double his salary.
Yeah.
And subtract the CDs and add a veggie tray.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Explain that to me.
No, I can't. Other than I think sometimes stealing is like was it Winona Ryder that got caught doing that?
Winona, yeah.
It's like a thrill like thing. Like you think you're getting over and
there's like an exhilaration to it, maybe getting caught.
So it's the feeling, it's not about the money.
Well, that's
saving the money.
Often what like kleptomania is, when people don't actually need the things, they're just doing it for like the sport and the thrill of doing it.
One day if I'm running for public office and someone checks the security camera at New Seasons, you're going to find me with a handful of trail mix from time to time. Tell you that right now.
That is your move, isn't it?
Yeah, you know what? That trail mix is my tax on you for shopping at your overpriced store. If you want my $300, guess what? That handful of trail mix as I walk around the store, that's mine.
Don't take this the wrong way.
Yeah, go for it.
You seem like a shoplifter.
I seem like a shoplifter.
You seem like a guy that's shoplifted a thing or two in his day.
What am I stealing?
Oh, I don't know what you're stealing,
Well,
but
trail mix.
that comment right there was like, okay, now I'm looking into the mentality and I see it. I see it's right across the table from me.
Look, I will fully admit that when I am doing a full grocery run, check that cookie case. You may be short one oatmeal raisin or a handful of trail mix. I'll tell you that right now. I've never stolen toilet paper or a veggie tray. You look like a shoplifter. All right. Well, I will say that now the Fred Meyer, where I do most of my shopping, they do have a security team now. They're doing the Costco receipt check.
Yeah, it's wild out there.
And you know what? I tell those guys every time I leave, I tell those guys thank you.
Good.
Because that's a crappy job, and everyone there always is pissed about it. All the olds are very angry that they have to have their stuff checked. But I say thank you, because we got to stop something. This whole shoplifting epidemic, it's ridiculous.
You know what you probably don't tell them?
What?
About that veggie tray in your pants.
How do you steal a veggie tray?
I don't know. That's the other thing I was wondering.
Right? Like...
I guess she just walked out.
This lady needs to be way better at stealing. You got to find some stuff that you can conceal, like a pack of Twizzlers or something.
What an idiot!
I know.
All right, a Portland woman was smashed with a 2x4. Well, it wasn't a 2x4. It was only a 2x2.
Yeah. Thank heavens.
Today, we'll tell you what happened there next on The Fan.
This is The Fan's Window into Sports, a view into today's top stories. Brought to you by Window Nation, online at windownation.com.
Well, I mean, I'll just keep it local for you guys. I mean, I think Bucky Irving is a really good player. The center is a great player. He's the number one. This is a great draft for centers. And right now, if you're looking to upgrade at that position the way, say, the Pittsburgh Steelers are, like you can't get any better than what they have at Oregon right now at that position. I mean, the guy is just a complete stud. So, Jackson Powers Johnson, like, he's not getting out of the top 20 picks in this draft. There's no way.
That is Brian Baldinger on The Fan this morning.
Yeah. And Bucky, unfortunately, There.
The suspect, later identified as Keith Lopez Herring, 52-year-old man, reportedly tried hitting another hotel guest but missed.
Yeah.
He's like Mike Zunino.
Well, at least that person was smart enough to get out of the way. You gotta dodge. You gotta be aware of where your surroundings are at.
Then they said he was involved in another incident shortly afterward. He, of course, goes to the plaid pantry because why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
A security guard in the area said he was talking to himself. Then he raised his voice to the guard and said, "Are you following me?" Herring then allegedly charged at the guard and hit him in the face.
Man. Boy, this guy is he's going like full-on bear Jew. He's just out there swinging clubs. You can't do that. You just can't.
A man working at a dental office near the plaid pantry told police that Herring had tried to carjack him while saying he would kill him and jabbing a metal rod at him.
So not only does he has a wooden stick, but he now has a metal rod. What is happening?
When police arrested him, he told officers he was paranoid and worried that police would harm him. While being interviewed, he allegedly asked for a refill of his water. When the detective took the water cup, he charged at her and knocked her over in the hallway before being corralled by other officers.
So let me guess, he's going to do no time in jail and then we're just going to release him out on the street? Or can we actually arrest this douche canoe and put him away until he stops being paranoid?
Well, he is, as I said, he's being held without bail.
He's worried the police are going to hurt him. Don't do this stuff, and maybe they won't.
9 criminal counts, including assault, attempted assault, and escape.
Yeah, I just, for once, I just want to see one of these stories where I hear like 3 years behind bars. Like a significant amount. And while you're in there, let's get you some help, bud. Let's get you on some Prozac. Let's get you some treatment. Let's get you some therapy. But, yeah, you don't get to walk the streets anymore. You can't just hit every other person you see with a 2x2. You can't do it.
According to jail and court records, he is on county hold for failing to register as a sex offender.
Oh, all right. Well, this goes down to my list of we've officially reached the point where you have you've gone back on your human dues and you don't get to live with us anymore. We got to start a whole new Australia sort of thing. Again, the cruise ship.
I do a lot of things other people don't do. So.
At some point, you've lost the privilege to be amongst the rest.
I do a
of
lot
us.
of things other people don't do.
Dang it!
So
Sorry.
it's just we're shipping your ass to that garbage pile in the middle of the Pacific, right? This is your new home now. Do whatever the hell you want out there, away from everybody else.
All right, that's in the news. March 6, 2024. The Hot 5 at 5 is coming up next. If you are tuning in to find out how the Duck ladies did in the Pac-12 women's basketball tournament, I will just tell you right now, it wasn't good. Your mic is off.
They didn't lose by 50.
Now it's on. They did not.
That's the important part.
They didn't win by 50 either.
They didn't lose by 50.
The point gap is between plus 50 and minus 50.
Yes.
So make sure you stay tuned to find out where it fell. That's next on The Fan.
You come for the action. You play for the thrill. And when it comes to winning, you're here to
Back. Hope you're having a nice little Wednesday. It's your Sports Bros. Rob, that's me. Big Sook's right over there.
Right here.
There's Ryan Buckley. He's partying over there. Doesn't have a hat
The
on
best
today.
part of football is football.
I know.
And so you got to do football.
You do got to do football. I hate to say it, Bug, but again, I immediately noticed you not wearing a hat today. I can't. And it's still very odd to me when I see Buckley not wearing
I know.
a hat.
I realize it's been about 2 weeks since I haven't worn a hat. I even have a hat with me today, but the flow was just working, or at least so I thought, and so the hat stays off.
Isn't it funny how, and you wouldn't know this, Jason, because you don't have hair.
No, I do not.
But when you do have hair, it is funny how you look in the mirror some days and you're like, my God, that's terrible. And then other days you go, yeah.
It works.
And that never happens for me. So I'm like, and I don't even think, today, but usually I'm like, I need to throw a hat on. And today I'm like, no, that'll work.
But I think that what's funny about that is I think that most people, like, there's not one person that would notice the difference between what you hate and what you like with your hair. Not one person would notice the difference.
Yeah.
And say, like, in other words, no one would agree with you that your hair even looks bad when you think it does, and they probably don't think it looks any different when you think it looks good.
Well, this is that old thing of we often believe that people pay attention to us and what we look like, what we're wearing, what we're doing. In reality is no one does. We're too busy caught up taking selfies of ourselves.
It's just for us.
But it's just for us.
It makes us feel better when we think we're having a good hair day.
I long for those days where I could look and be like, this looks pretty good.
I remember when I had my long hair, my super long hair.
Oh, your little rock man bun thing?
Yep.
Yeah, dude, I had that going, bro.
That was a COVID thing?
No, that was when I got my Dewey. I didn't cut it until after I was completely out of all of the, out of the system.
Yeah.
So it was close to a year.
Yeah.
And then at the end, I went to my wife's stylist. And I'll never forget, she was like, okay, let me show you what I think you look like. You know what picture she showed me?
It's probably not going to
Wayne Grow and Heat.
No, close.
Oh, that's nice.
When I think the hair that color and a little bit longer, I think John Voight and Heat.
No, she showed me Nick Cage and Con Air.
Oh
boy.
Yeah.
And if you go look at that,
I don't need to.
One of the most glorious GIFs on the internet.
That's when I realized, okay, fine. It was a really great way for her to tell me, you need to cut that.
And you took that as cut it? Because I think a lot of people would
Yes.
take that as you keep that forever.
No, I took that as she's saying, she's being polite.
It's her polite way.
At least on internet, that Cage shot is revered of him with the white tank and like looking into the sunshine.
Yeah, but it's not revered in the way you think it's
right.
revered.
Exactly.
Okay,
it's also a photo that I looked at and went, "Wait, that's what you think I look?" It's like I don't view it that way, but that's what people see. Okay, cut it.
Yeah, that's
her and hurry.
Yeah, I understand. That's what, good for her. That's a seasoned pro right there. She knows how to.
Yeah.
She knows how to stick that knife in.
But
you think your wife put her up to that? She's like, hey,
it's possible.
It comes in.
It's entirely possible because my wife is so sweet and so nice. She would never say that she didn't like it, and she always said, "Oh, I love your long hair." You had long hair. There's a mugshot of you with long hair.
Yeah.
It is. I will say that I think at some point, if you have hair, you kind of got to grow it out just to see what it's like.
Yep.
I mean, it's kind of a fun experiment.
Yeah. I grew right out, and then mine fell out, and I was like, son of a... I feel like that pissed me off because BYU wasted all my good hair years because you couldn't have long hair. So at the end of football season, I would grow mine out, and then when I had to come back for the summer, they would make me cut it.
So you only got 3 months or so, or between spring and the next season, so maybe 6?
Yeah, I got like 5 to 6 months, and then would get right at my collar, and then I would come back, and they would make me cut it, and I wasted and I didn't have many good hair years left, and I wasted some good ones there at the Lord's University.
Sook's hair.
Yeah.
I will say that if you guys have never grown out your hair and you're thinking about doing it, it is a worthwhile endeavor. It's fun. It's interesting.
Yeah.
But, man, I swear to God, in that roughly 1 year I had long hair, it looked good. Mm-hmm. And I mean compliments type good. Like, wow, Rob, that looks great.
I used to compliment it all the time.
Maybe for a month. Mm-hmm. Of the 12.
I think so. I did this, I don't know, probably 10 years ago, where I'd never grown it out my entire life, and I just decided I was going to. For one, the in-between stage sucks, like getting between short and actually long to where you can do something with it.
Yeah.
And then additionally, when it is long, respect to the women that have to do this every single day or choose to do it every single day, I guess. But getting long hair to look the way you want it to and stay that way is near impossible.
That's correct.
It was heartbreaking because my son has amazing hair.
Yeah, he had long hair.
Oh, yeah, he had a righteous flow.
And he grew like Dave Grohl long hair, like past his shoulders, and it was phenomenal. And he looked great. It was awesome. And that son of a gun. Like, I live vicariously. I would like sit on the couch and I would play with it. And I was like, how? How did I produce this? And then one day it was gone.
Why didn't he give it to you?
And just
locks of love.
Every day I see it now, and I tell him all the time, I'm like, I love you, but I'm disappointed in you.
Make you a little wig.
And he's like, it can grow back. And I'm like, well, it's not. He keeps cutting it. And he said the same. He said it was too much.
Yeah, it's his hair.
Hassle.
Now his, I remember being kind of long and straight.
Yeah.
See, mine was not.
Yeah, he does.
Buck is right. It is really hard. Unless it just falls down and just lays there.
You need it to either be totally straight or have a decent amount of curl, but if it's a little wavy, it's
that
a
son
nightmare.
of a gun.
That's how mine
that son
was.
of a gun could wake up, put some water in it, and throw it back, and he looked like $1 million.
Yeah, not only that, but as guys, we don't know how to style it.
We haven't been versed in this.
Yeah, I don't know. Cut it.
Con Air.
I love that for you, though.
Yeah,
I want to see you dress up like that and look into the sunshine one time.
Please,
like
for Halloween, go as Nick Cage from Con Air.
How Alabama went from Nick Saban to Kalen DeBoer in a matter of 2 days. That's coming up. Also in the club, we'll get to our Iditarod Moose news. But right now, the Hot 5 at 5.
Hot topics, hot opinions.
Oh, golly, I'm hot today.
And hot air. It's time for the Hot 5 at 5.
That's hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 on Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
No, I mean it. That's very hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 with Isaac and Sue. Brought to you on The Fan by Victor Rico's Mexican Food, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Online at victorricos.com. Number 5.
Pac-12 women's basketball tournament. Oregon scored 11 points in the first half. They lost 79-30.
By the way, they play in quarters, so that's 11 points. 7-4.
Yeah, they lost 79-30 to Colorado. So the Buffs, here's what you need to know. The Buffs went scoreless for 6 minutes in the second quarter, and Oregon was still down by 27 at half.
Hey, if you want to hold on to a positive, the second quarter, Oregon held Colorado to 12 points, but they only scored 4 themselves. By the way, you think Oregon's on some sort of bubble now?
Well, they're 11-21, so I'm going to say no.
Like a CIT bubble? CBI?
And, it kind of feels like the team quit on old Kelly Graves there.
It did not go well.
So we'll see if he keeps his job. Now, Colorado moves on to meet Oregon State. The Beavs and their coach, Scott Rueck, he was named Pac-12 Women's Coach of the Year for the 5th time. Yeah. They were picked 10th.
Really?
Yeah, and they finished 23-6.
Yeah, they had that tough one against Stanford where they lost the regular season title. Is Miss Beers back for the?
That I don't know.
For the Beavs yet? Because she missed the final against Stanford.
Commanders. They get a jump on free agency. I'm not sure how they're able to do this, but they signed tight end Zach Ertz today. Why are they able to sign him when free agency doesn't start until Monday?
I don't know.
1 year, $5 million.
That is a good question.
I find that a little odd as well. I guess I really didn't think about that, but I don't think he signed. I think he maybe just agreed to it, and he wasn't.
Well, you're not supposed to do that until Monday either, because you can't sign till Wednesday.
Yeah, but he wasn't with a team, so
wasn't he signed by the Lions in the playoffs?
Lions?
I'm pretty sure he was.
Lions?
It's a good question, and that I don't know, because he hasn't signed. He just has agreed.
He's reunited with Cliff Kingsbury. Former Beaver Jordan Poyer cut by the Bills after 7 seasons. Saves them over $5 million in cap space. Yeah. He is 32.
They had to do a bunch of chopping. They lost their starting center, Morse. They got rid of Tre'Davious White, who's recovering from the Achilles injury. So they had there's a bunch of teams that were in some cap crunches.
And hey, the Bills are discussing a free agent deal with quarterback Mitchell Trubisky.
And I know Bills fan is upset, but they restructured Von Miller, and he's actually coming back. Of all the players that you would think would be a guaranteed cut, Von Miller, but they're going to run it back with him.
Oregon basketball coach Dana Altman is not retiring. Says he has no idea who in the national media is speculating about him leaving, but it has been bandied about. Says he will return as long as Oregon wants him. He's been at the helm for 13 years. He has 4 years left on his deal. He is 65 years old.
Yeah. That may be one of those, again, much like the women's program. It's seen better days there. So I think maybe there's some speculation, but Brush ain't going anywhere. Not walking out on that money.
Is it weird that Dana Altman is 5 years older than Chip Kelly?
It does
Is that
seem
odd?
It does seem a little weird.
He seems, I don't know, he just seems a lot older. Or do you see it the other way?
No, I see it the other way.
You see him as younger than Chip?
No. I
see
don't
it the
think
same way I do.
I don't think of Chip as that old, but Altman puts off a very
old man,
Jerry Sloan sort of vibe. Well, the comb, the brush, the hair.
Midwestern girl dad.
I think the fact his hair hasn't turned gray makes him not maybe seem that old.
Blazers host the upstart Thunder tonight. Oklahoma City is 42-19.
How are they the upstart? They have the second best record in the West.
Well, they're young, that's why.
Oh, okay.
Shut up.
Sorry.
They've already beaten the Blazers 3 times this year. Kamara, Grant, and Thibault all questionable. DeAndre Ayton is out, and as you likely know, Brogdon, Scoot, Sharp, and Williams are all out as well.
Tank.
Hey, wait, Wait. I got to look up a score, guys.
What do we got?
We could have some late-breaking news.
NBA score?
No. Hold on. I was going to corkscrew the Mariners in here.
Oh, I was like, did you want like that hot Clippers-Rockets score going on right now?
Oh, they won. Damn it. Well, the Mariners were going to be 1-10 in spring training, but they came back and beat my Royals today, 8-7.
Inching the way to 54%.
So now they're 2-9. How do you feel about that?
Number 1.
I don't know if there's something that I put less interest in than spring training records.
As expected, college football powers that be are moving winter signing day to early December. This will be before the transfer portal opens. No thoughts on that? Don't care?
Run that by me one more time.
You weren't listening to me, were you?
I was looking at the score.
Who's winning?
Who's occurring?
Who's winning?
I was just looking at the NBA scores were pulled up.
Well, who's winning?
The Wizards are beating the Magic. The Hawks are beating the Cavaliers. The Grizz and 76ers are tied. And the Rockets are up on the Clippers.
Nick Saban and Greg Byrne open up about the coach's retirement in an ESPN piece. Reports Dan Lanning was not really a serious candidate. The top 2 on Greg Byrne's list were Mike Norvell and Kalen DeBoer.
Well, it sounds like
those were the 2 he went after immediately.
Yeah, when you read through the piece, they knew that Sark wasn't going to leave Texas, and it sounded like the Lanning thing was, again, one of those, we knew we weren't going to get him, and it wasn't necessarily our first pick anyways, but it does sound like Norvell was their first pick, and Norvell used that to get the $10 million a year out of Florida State, and once that happened, they immediately pivoted to DeBoer, and DeBoer ended up taking that job.
Victorico's Mexican food, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Order now at victoricos.com. Let's talk about how Bama found Kalen DeBoer to replace Nick Saban. We'll do that next on The Fan.
The Fan is
bro.
Hey, I have the answer on why who's it? Zach Ertz was able to sign with the Commies before free agency started.
Talk to me, Gene. What do we got?
He was on their practice squad.
Oh, okay. So they signed him before the end of the league year last year?
Yeah, he was on the practice squad and not the 53-man roster when the season ended.
Okay.
So that's why they were able to sign him before the start of free agency.
Makes sense. Because you can pluck
Yes.
guys from the practice squad and bring them onto your roster.
It does make sense. Danny Meringue with some Blazers news. We were talking about all their injuries.
You know, we're not certain who's playing. I believe you may be called into action tonight at the 2 guard.
I politely decline.
Don't want to tear that Achilles, do you?
No, I don't. I have a lot of golf to play, sir.
That's true. Yeah, if they offered you,
no,
just like
no,
we'll give you just you get a uniform, the whole deal, you get introduced, and you can play in this game.
No. Why would I play in an NBA game?
How many people would turn that down? It's a chance to play. You could say an NBA
How many basketball
game.
fans? Not many.
I mean, I think that would be embarrassing.
And damaging because you'd hurt yourself.
Yeah.
And again, that's going to affect the golf game.
Or maybe, just maybe I'm thinking about this all wrong and that's my chance.
See, I like the idea that you don't want to hurt yourself so much that you kind of just go out there and dog it, and everyone in the arena is all mad at you because you don't look like you're giving
And then
your
I
best.
get booed.
Yeah. You're kind of ambling up and down the floor.
He says Tumani Kamara is out. Jeremy Grant and Teese.
Matisse Thybulle.
They call him Teese.
Yeah, he calls him Teese.
Teese.
Danny's close with him.
They are game time decisions. Scoot is progressing. He's doing work on the floor. He's getting close. Brogdon is doing more but experiencing discomfort. Ayton is still feeling pain in his hand and wrist but making progress.
So we probably have a lineup tonight of Simons,
yes,
Banton, Walker,
yes,
Murray,
Reith, and Murray.
Yep,
that's probably
That's
it.
what they did the other night, right?
Yep.
Right?
I think so.
And then we got some Rupe Heron, some Moses.
Well, no, Kamara played the other night.
Some Moses Brown coming off.
But
coming
Kamara
off the
didn't
bench.
start though. I thought,
I
right?
thought he did.
I thought Kamara. Yeah,
Did he?
He started the other night, but
You better start him.
Does it matter?
No, it doesn't. I think that lineup you just mentioned is a surefire loss. Although we thought that against Minnesota, and they took them to the wire.
I know, made me a little stressed. And by the way, people are saying those Rob jerseys would fly off the shelf. You kidding me?
You know they would.
That Isaac Rob 29 out there.
You know they would.
Launching threes.
All right. So the ESPN piece on how Alabama went from Nick Saban to Kalen DeBoer in 2 days. It's interesting. I don't know. I always like to hear the kind of the behind the scenes of how it all went down because we did a lot of speculating on how it all went down.
And by the way, a lot of that speculation turned out to be true. I mean, a lot of these reports were leaked, and now this is all just kind of put into one little neat little story.
But it's also from only one guy's perspective.
Yeah.
Greg Byrne, the AD at Alabama. So this is his tale. I think the thing that's left out of here is they don't talk much about Jimmy Sexton's influence because all of the guys mentioned was what we talked about when it happened. Yeah. All of the guys mentioned in this story, coaches, are all Jimmy Sexton clients, every one of them.
And this is why the part of the story that I don't believe is the Kalen DeBoer doing the I had no idea. Kalen DeBoer acts as if he lost the national title game, came back to Washington, and then it stunned him. And he first heard about the job on Wednesday, and then he accepted it on Friday. First off, you're lying. Washington offered you a $9 million a year contract, and you turned it down. Why did you turn down that deal? Because your agent was telling you, hey, by the way, keep your options open. Something may be happening. Wink, wink, nod, nod. And don't let him fool you for 1 second that he was, because he said immediately when he heard about the Alabama job, he wanted the job before he ever talked to anyone. AKA Jimmy Sexton was like, this is your job if you want it. So, I mean, there are some...
Well, can both things be true there, though? Both things can be true in the sense that the first thing is he definitely... Sexton knew that Saban could be leaving.
Yes.
Now, what we learned in here is that Saban told Greg Byrne at the end of the 2022 season that he didn't know when he'd retire, but he didn't know how long he was going to do this.
He said, all this stuff is weighing on me. We got to start treating this year to year.
So I'm guessing... over the course of the season, somewhere in there, Greg Byrne is getting with Jimmy Sexton saying, hey, I'm going to put this on your radar. Don't know when it's going to happen, but we have a lot of interest in Kalen DeBoer because what ended up happening, at least in this story, Burns said that his top 2 choices were Kalen DeBoer and Mike Norvell. Yeah. Dan Lanning was not. As a matter of fact, they said, and again, this is where it comes back to Jimmy Sexton. Jimmy Sexton represents Dan Lanning as well. Mm-hmm. And, of course, Jimmy Sexton is smart, probably called Oregon and said, hey, watch out. Alabama job's open. What are you going to do for my guy? And then Lanning puts out a video. Boom. But they said by the time Lanning released that video that he was staying, Byrne had already zeroed in on DeBoer and Norvell.
And they said that they knew Sark wasn't, I think in the piece he said knew Sark wasn't even an option, that Sark wasn't going to leave Texas, period.
Right. So he was out. But he also put out a thing like staying at Texas, you know, so. But I think surely Sexton knew that it's possible that Saban could retire, and I'm guessing Sexton knew that DeBoer was on Alabama's radar, which is why DeBoer did not sign an extension. Okay, so that's one thing that's true. But also it could be true that DeBoer, you know, he's coaching for the national championship. It could be true because no one seemed to know that Saban was actually going to retire this season.
Yes.
DeBoer said the Bama job wasn't even on his radar. He said he woke up Wednesday morning. So Saban retired on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. DeBoer said he woke up Wednesday morning trying to get over the loss, business as usual. We've got stuff to do here at UW. Then he said Bama calls him Wednesday. He meets with them Thursday, and he's offered the job on Friday, and he knew he wanted it because it's Alabama.
Yeah.
So that's how he said it went down. It's possible that that's true, even though Sexton advised him maybe before to keep his options open. I think both things could be true there.
Sure. I just think that you're being disingenuous if you don't, by saying that it was not on your radar. I don't believe that to be true. Every one of those coaches, from Dan Lanning to Steve Sarkisian to Mike Norvell to Lane Kiffin, isn't it great, by the way, that not a single man whose name was mentioned for that job isn't represented by Jimmy Sexton?
Well, that's what I was saying.
Yeah,
they're all Jimmy Sexton.
It's crazy. Guys. Even the ones that weren't really considered for it are still Jimmy Sexton guys. But it sounds like, according to Byrne, that Mike Norvell was their guy.
Yeah.
They wanted Mike Norvell, and Mike Norvell and Jimmy used that to get Mike Norvell $10 million a year for 8 more years at Florida State, a bump up in pay for all his assistants, and a guarantee that they were going to spend money on the football program. So it's just, I just love it that all these guys use these things, and by all these guys, I mean the agent used them to drum up.
Well, yeah,
to drum up extra money and resources for his clients.
That's how it works. I mean, Jimmy Sexton is a power broker in college football. And by the way, do we need to talk about Norvell saying no to Alabama to stay at Florida State?
A little crazy, huh?
That's wild.
Although $80 million will, you know.
Well, he would have gotten more than that at Alabama.
Probably would have got, I mean, I don't know if he gets more, but he probably gets obviously the same. But
and Florida State's leaving the 8. I don't know. That's a weird one.
Yeah.
That's a weird one. But he said he talked in there about fit.
Yep.
And he didn't think he was the right fit for that job.
Well, and it's true that one, you know, following Saban, I guess that was the DeBoer thing. He said the first question that was asked of him was, what do you feel about following the legend? And he said, I'm the only one that'll tell you I'm going to embrace it. And, you know, I think that goes for Sark. I think it goes for Kim. It goes for a lot of those people. And we talked about it at the time. Do you really want to be the one filling in after Nick? Think about the level of expectation at Alabama. You could win 10 games every single year. Hell, you could win 11 games every single year, and it's not going to be good enough unless you win national championships. I honestly, I don't want that job, and I'll go to my grave saying this too. Alabama is not the job that we all make it out to be. Alabama is a job like so many other schools that if you get the right guy there, you have all the resources to win. But Alabama was not a great job after Bear Bryant left. Gene Stallings made it a great job. It wasn't a good job after Gene Stallings left. For God's sakes, they hired Mike Price at one point. And who else they got? They got Mike Shula. They got DeBose. Like Alabama was, it's not like anyone that goes to Alabama just is guaranteed to win. Saban made it that. You remove Saban from that equation, and I ask you, is Alabama any better than Florida
yes.
or any of those other schools?
You say Florida. I thought you were going to say Florida State. And I would say you take Nick Saban out of there. Yes, I think Alabama is a better job than Florida State, even with everything that you just said.
Yeah, because Florida State hasn't dumped the resources in.
See, the thing about Norvell, Florida State is, I just don't think it's that great of a job. Florida State,
without a conference, I agree.
It's not
without, but I mean, with where they are currently, yes.
Yeah. what's his name? Jimbo.
Yeah.
Jimbo bailed on Florida State. All the stuff that Jimbo said, and he won a championship at Florida State.
Yep.
All the stuff that he said about why he left there is all still true at Florida State.
Yep.
And he flamed them, and he went to Texas A&M, which is not, I mean, that's not,
No, it
that's
hasn't.
just a tough,
Yeah.
well, he's gone now.
Yeah.
So he's already flamed out at Texas A&M, but he left Florida State to go to Texas A&M, much less Alabama.
And the
So
only-
what I'm saying is, I think it is crazy that Norvell turned down Alabama for Florida State. Now, if Kalen DeBoer stays at Washington, I think that's a little bit more stable because they're now in the Big Ten. Florida State is kind of in limbo here in the ACC.
I got to believe that when Norvell agreed to that, $80 million, all the incentives that he got for his coaches and his budget, my guess is that they told Mike, hey, in a year, we're out of here. We'll be in the Big Ten too. Florida State is not long for the ACC. And he got some assurances, or at least he thinks he got some assurances that Florida State's ready to commit.
Yeah,
because that's always
I
been
don't
the
know.
rub for Florida State, is that they don't commit the way other schools commit. And Alabama certainly will commit. Don't get me wrong. I just think that we make Alabama out to be a job that is like no other. And the only reason it's a job like no other is because Nick Saban was there. And how many times did we hear in the last handful of months that it's shocking the Saban discount that their players gave because they wanted to go play. And the moment he was gone, that discount doesn't apply anymore.
Well, I agree with all that, but I still think it's wild to stay at FSU, especially after what had happened to them in the college football playoff.
Yep.
Like they were getting, I don't know, man, they got hosed.
It is kind of crazy that he did stay there. Yes.
So
I'll give
Byrne,
you that. Can you imagine if you got turned down, if Byrne got turned down by Mike Norvell and the Washington head coach, like in
then where does he go?
Probably Lane
Because
Kiffin.
Sark, no. Well, you know what's interesting is in there, they said Lane Kiffin came up twice, and he said Lane Kiffin and Sark were not, they really weren't on their radar.
Nope.
He knew Sark wouldn't leave Texas. He didn't explain why Kiffin.
Yeah.
But they did say Lane Kiffin, so Florida State was scared that Norvell was gone.
Yeah.
And Florida State was moving to hire
Lane Kiffin. Let you know that old Jimmy thought that Mike might be gone.
Exactly.
So he's telling, Jimmy's working and being like, hey, you go get my guy Mike. And then he's telling Lane, hey, Lane, you're next up for Florida State.
And see, I think it would be interesting to see if Lane would have gone there, because he's in the SEC. Ole Miss, does he leave there for Florida State?
He leaves there for Florida State.
Greg Byrne said he called 4 people to get their thoughts before he got on the horn with his candidates. Do you know what 4 people he called?
I do, because
you read the story.
I read the story.
Does Buck know?
I'm trying to guess if there would be
former players.
Okay,
just FYI.
Well,
I mean,
I was going to go
narrow
players or
it down.
admin.
You got to narrow it down a little bit.
Do I?
He's calling the ghost of Elvis, for God's sakes.
I'm trying to think of which former players.
Okay. You're never going to get it. He called Joe Namath, Mark Ingram.
I'm sorry. Why would you care what Joe Namath thinks about this?
Jalen Hurts, and Devontae Smith.
Yeah, the Slim Reaper.
A very weird foursome to call.
I don't get why you would need drunk Joe Namath's opinion. I just don't get that.
That's why you're not the
Well,
AD.
he's sober now.
That's
Is
why
he?
you're, so he claims. So is Scott Weiland.
Boy, man, that's rough. I think he is sober. Last time I saw him, he seemed very coherent. Had lost some weight. He didn't have the big bulbous red drunk nose. God.
So no Derrick Henry, huh?
No.
No, just those.
Devontae
Ingram
Smith.
over Henry.
He said he wanted to get a feel for what the players thought.
So he just kind of, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a good phone call to make. I don't know. Kind of weird.
Yeah, the Jalen Hurts even left. He went to Oklahoma. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Jalen Hurts said, "Go get Lincoln Riley." No, he didn't. I'm just kidding.
I don't think Lincoln's leaving L.A.
All right, that story in ESPN worth a read. Pretty interesting. At least I thought. I don't know. Maybe you didn't think so.
I did.
What's up with Chiefs fans? I've got more Chiefs fans news.
The Chiefaholics?
The
we had the fentanyl bros, and then we had the bank robber guy. What do we got now?
The whole thing. What are they doing out there?
What's going on? Well, you're from the Midwest.
Now we're losing
You tell
limbs.
us.
Supposed to have Midwest sensibilities.
Losing limbs?
That's right.
Oh, consider me teased.
Here's Buck with Sports Center.
Now,
do football is football drop, but it's like
better.
next level.
Yeah.
Football is football drop.
Football is football.
Football is football.
Football is football.
Football's football.
Football is football.
And more importantly, we've now learned that we have to
Do it.
football.
The best part of football is football. And so you got to do football.
Wow.
I've been missing something all these
Athletics
years.
is athletics.
Turns out doing football. I mean, I've played football, but have I ever done football? I don't think I have.
So I was mentioning Chiefs fans. You know, they're wild out there in Kansas City.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great place to go to a game, tailgate and stuff.
Yeah, Arrowhead, legendary. One of the best tailgate situations in the United States.
It is. If you've never been, look, there's a lot of white trash.
You had to think about that one, did you?
Well, I was just trying to be nice.
I understand.
And then I just would, just say
you
it.
just went for it.
Well, it's if you don't know, those stadiums are out in Independence. They're actually not in Kansas City proper. They're way out there east. And Independence is like the meth capital of the world. I don't know if you know that.
No, I don't spend a lot of time in Missouri.
Well, at least meth capital of, the United States. Or at one time it was.
Yeah.
Maybe it's better now. I don't know. But it's trashy out there.
Sure.
So you get those Chiefs fans. They are wild.
Yeah, get a little wild up.
So we have the story of the Chiefs fan who was a bank robber, who has just now been put behind bars.
Chiefaholic.
We have shootings at the Chiefs Super Bowl celebration.
Yep.
We have the Chiefs fan who poisoned 3 of his buddies at a Chiefs watch
we think
party.
accidentally.
At his house.
Allegedly.
Yeah, and they died, and he left their bodies freezing in the snow.
Yeah, for like 48 hours.
At his house. And now we have limb amputations.
Boy, that's a lot to digest for one off season.
The medical director at Grossman Burn Center at Research Medical Center says 70% of patients referred for frostbite injuries suffered during the bitter cold in January are now being advised to schedule amputations. The majority of them are Chiefs fans who attended the team's frigid playoff game.
Yeah, that's not good. If you've ever wondered, like when you see that drunk idiot in the 2-degree weather and he's shirtless and he's out there yelling and screaming at the NFL game, turns out that guy loses limbs.
It was the 4th coldest game in NFL history and the coldest game in Chiefs franchise history. The temperature was -4, and the wind chill had it at -27 at kickoff.
Yeah.
And they are saying that they have already seen dozens of frostbite patients who were at that game and now need amputations.
Yeah. You want to talk about the dumbest reason that you can get something amputated? I give you showing up to a Chiefs game not properly attired.
How about not just not properly attired, but going the other way? The people who are like actively trying to, I don't know, put on a show. This is the ultimate. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
You see
situation.
it all the time. Negative degree temperatures and just some jackass out there. I'm shirtless. Ah! Well, it's the Jason Kelsey thing, right?
I mean, how many of those dudes popped up on as cutaway shots during the game or on Twitter? Look at this guy with his shirt off. Well, now he doesn't
hope
have
to
a
see
pinky.
that guy now with the cutaway of his 7 fingers. And maybe, hopefully, it's just some fingers and toes and not like an arm, you would hope.
So they're saying they shared an image of the hand of one of the fans who took his gloves off for 5 minutes because he needed to put up a tent in the parking lot. And he is now losing fingers.
See, that I feel bad about. Like, that's someone that's trying to go to the game, have a good time. It doesn't sound like that person was actively trying to be an idiot. They just got some bad luck.
The patients who had their frostbite injuries along with the Chiefs game, they are just getting to the point now where we're starting to discuss their amputations that might be necessary. The estimated 30% lucky enough to avoid amputation after undergoing treatment the past few weeks in oxygen tanks will have plenty of reminders of their frostbite injuries. It is a lifelong process. They'll have sensitivity and pain for the rest of their lives and always will be more susceptible to frostbite in the future.
Yeah, I've heard that. Like people that like have the mountaineering injuries like that, even the ones that don't, they have to soak it in warm water. And yeah, it's like needle stinging pain the rest of your life. In fact, I've actually read some like on Everest that choose amputation because it's less painful.
Get rid of it.
Yeah, it's less intrusive.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, it turns out frostbite is
I hope it was all worth it. Well, they won. I mean, they won the title.
Yeah.
And they won the game.
You think there's some idiot Chiefs fan that's like, you know what? Totally worth it.
Would you give your
No. Nothing. And
you don't even know what I was going to ask.
I don't care. The answer is for my team to win a title. You know what? That's a lie because I've told you this pinky doesn't work. You could have my left pinky.
The taint tickler?
Yeah, you could have that one. That one's permanently effed up. It doesn't really bend. Yeah, you could have my left pinky. For a Wings Stanley Cup or a Mets World Series, yes, you could have my pinky. Outside of that, no. It's the only thing I'm willing to give up.
What about your thumb?
Nope.
And
I
$1
told
million.
you, left pinky, only the left pinky.
Thumb and a milli.
Wait,
No.
have you not? Wait, when was the last time the Wings won a cup? Have you not seen one?
Oh yeah, I mean, but they haven't been to the playoffs in 10 years.
Oh, but you've watched them hoist the cup. So
again,
it's
this is why I'm saying my left pinky does nothing. It's a worthless digit.
So to see him do it again, you would do it.
Sure.
Wow.
I don't care. You could take my left pinky for for very little.
Got it.
I mean,
not much of a bargaining chip for you.
Even for a good cause, right? Like, let's say, I don't know, someone's dying of cancer or something. We need to raise money for some kids' charity or whatever.
Can we do amputate Sook's pinky for the cause?
For enough money? If I raised enough money for a good cause, you could have my pinky. It is the most worthless digit. It can't curl.
So what does that kind of thing cost a charity?
I don't know. At least 6 figures.
Okay.
You know what the worst thing about this frigid playoff game was too is that that wasn't even.
No,
in hindsight, it's like Miami didn't even show up, and it was like a kind of a crappy game, and their biggest games were all to come. Like that was not even that big of a game. It's one thing if it's the championship game and it's the Bills and it's a classic.
Yeah, the Dolphins.
It's the freaking stupid. The Finns.
Yes, it's the Finns.
Bunch of wusses out
you're
there.
permanently damaged because of it.
Isn't that wild? Those Chiefs fans, man.
And yet it's the most sports thing ever.
Yeah.
And you know at least a few of them are okay with it. They support.
They don't care.
They got to support the team.
They'll be back next year.
They'll be back. Not all of them.
All right, wait. Are we where are we at on the
Are we breaks behind? Are we good?
where are we at?
We all right?
Well, we have one more seggy before we get to the club.
Okay. You know what you're going to hear next?
Oh no, oh no.
Oh yes.
I don't know. We'll figure something out. We got to wrap it up. And then we got to move on to the club. The Iditarod is kind of sports news. Should we just get into that?
And there's a legit update from that, not just the things we've already discussed.
Oh, we got hot Iditarod.
There was
moose.
a rules infraction related to the moose.
Oh boy.
All right, we'll start there. The club's early. A lot of times people get mad at us for starting the club late.
Not today.
We started early. Next on The Fan.
It's time for a Ducks Report, the inside story on Oregon athletics. Brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Oh, I thought we were going to get audio of a couple of the Ducks' few points that they scored today.
Thought maybe that big 4-point second quarter. That
Probably was enough time for both second quarter buckets, but didn't put it in there.
In case you didn't realize, the women's tournament, Pac-12, is going on right now, and Oregon
firearms for protection from wildlife, but they are required to gut any big game animal they shoot in order for it to be salvaged.
Yeah, you have to stop and dress it right there.
So he has to stop and dress it. It's in the rules. And wait, the other guys get to keep going, or do they have to stop?
No,
or?
so that's
anyone
the thing.
that comes upon it has to stop and help.
I thought they'd stop the whole race if one person had to stop.
Yeah,
it.
I thought so too. That
so that
seems,
no one gets an advantage, because I think they're trying to do it for the nature. I think
that seems wildly unfair.
But the people that have already gone past it aren't aware that
I think that the race officials can communicate with all of them and say, hold up, somebody had to kill a moose. We all got to stop.
Well, they have a bunch of checkpoints, and I think they hold them up.
Yes.
They stop them. They say, look, there's a guy back there gutting a moose. So hold on a minute.
Yeah, and anyone that comes by and sees him, you have to stop and help him gut and dress the moose.
Well, so Buck has an update on this, but before I get to that, the other thing about this is the musher, or the musher, is that what they call it?
Musher.
That guy, the guy before Dallas Seavey, said he punched the moose.
Or a moose. We don't know if it's the same
certain
one.
whether or not this is the same moose, but yeah, he encountered a moose, and instead of shooting it, he punched it in the snoot.
So why didn't he kill the moose?
Well,
he
the
didn't
moose-
want to gut the moose.
The moose went away. The problem is the moose became entangled with his dogs. The dogs are all chained together.
Yeah, I think if you can't avoid the moose, you want to, and the first musher was able to.
Yeah,
The second musher wasn't
no
so
one
lucky.
wants to mess with the moose. But once the moose starts stomping dogs, now you got no choice. You got to pull out
and then the next
44.
guy hit the moose carcass.
Yeah, he screws it along. 1 a.m, and whoops.
Dude, this moose.
There's the moose.
So I guess there's some controversy with this whole deal.
Yeah, so your boy, Dallas Seavey, has been penalized 2 hours
That's right.
for not properly gutting the animal, even though he reported the incident and then began to dress the animal. Apparently he didn't do a sufficient job, and then when that third musher came upon it, they're like, well, I mean, the guy was supposed to gut the moose. He didn't really gut the moose. And it appears that Dallas, they had a 3-person race panel convene. They can levy punishments up to 8 hours, but they felt that 2 hours was an appropriate punishment. So at his next checkpoint, when everyone else gets to leave in the morning, Dallas has to wait 2 hours.
Well, I'll tell you what, that is absolutely bananas that we got a group of people that went out there and were like, nope.
Not good enough.
It's like a hot dog eating contest. And they're like, you didn't finish that dog.
It says here in the official race release, by definition, gutting means taking out the intestines and other internal organs before cooking it. So it was determined the animal was not gutted properly. A 2-hour time penalty will be assessed.
Wait. Before cooking it, he has to cook it?
No, I don't know. Somebody else has to retrieve it.
So he just has to leave the meat?
I think he has to remove
Arby's?
the organs from the carcass, it sounds like, but I don't know.
You can't have it spoil. So my guess is as cold as it is, you probably have to kill it, gut it, dress it,
and then leave it.
And then leave it there, and then someone else can come along and it's cold enough.
It says the moose was later retrieved and processed and salvaged.
There you go.
Yeah, so you just do what it takes.
Yes.
So that the meat doesn't
keep it from
spoil,
rotting, yes.
and then somebody comes and gets it and salvages it, and you feed somebody for a year.
And Dallas didn't do that well enough.
No.
Cost him 2 hours.
What a little bitch.
And part of the reason they knew is that they have like timestamps. Said the incident where he shot the moose happened at 1:32 a.m. And then about 10 minutes later was when another musher came up on it. And so they basically like, wait, it takes way more than 10 minutes to deal with this.
You can't gut a moose in 10 minutes.
What if the musher in last place was like, I'm not going to win anyway. I'm going to drag this moose back to the cabin.
This is my moose.
And those dogs are like, what the hell is back there?
1,500 pounds
They're like,
of moose.
God.
You're dragging this thing. That is the wildest race. Simply because, one, there's a rule if you shoot and kill a moose, and that you can get penalized for not properly addressing said dead
Are there
moose.
any other sports where you kill animals? Can we add killing animals to other sports?
We've talked about it, and if you want to make baseball a little spicier, animals in the outfield would be way more interesting. You're trying to field a fly ball, and you got to navigate the alligator pit. All of a sudden, it gets way more interesting.
So wait, so they're still doing the race? Is he winning? Like, who's winning? Now I want to know who wins.
Who's winning? What is occurring?
There'll be updates.
Let's go to the race center.
Yeah, you can look it up.
Standings.
You can look it up and see where the standings are.
Where's the moose?
Dude, there's all kinds of crazy finishes.
As far as I'm concerned, the moose should be in first place. Oh, they're saying Dallas is number one.
He's in first place now.
Yeah, there's all kinds of crazy stories about people losing the Iditarod or winning it because of random different stuff that happens. And there's a bunch of different rules about how long you have to rest and taking care of your dogs, and it's a whole thing.
Yeah, it says what checkpoint they're at. So So he has 15 dogs.
Yeah.
The
He lost a couple of them. I know.
Well, they said one.
Yeah.
They flew one out, but it didn't die. They just he needed veterinary care. The guy behind CV only has 13 dogs. So I wonder why they do that.
Well, again, he may have lost some dogs along the way, or maybe you feel like you're running a leaner. I mean, I don't know. I don't know exactly what, but there are restrictions and what you can and can't do, and it's controversial. Some people think that it's cruel to the dogs because dogs do die along the way. I mean, you're running 1,000 miles, but then I've seen interviews with mushers that are like, that's what these dogs are made for, and the dogs love it. Like you see them practicing and like they're beyond geared up for it. So it's a little bit like rodeos where there's some PETA people that think that it's beyond cruel. And then people that are in it swear that those dogs are the most important thing to them in the world. And it's kind of a controversial event.
Well, what's the point?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, what's the point?
To make a 1,000-mile trek?
Yeah, like what are we doing?
Oh, it's a throwback to just the Alaskan heritage. Like it's an homage to the early days of the settlers up there, and that's how they would travel. And so it means a lot. The people of Alaska, the people that win this, they're celebrities, they're rock stars. I mean, it's a big deal in that state.
Right.
Like everywhere you go, like you see Iditarod stuff. There's speaking engagements, and then the dogs that a lot of these mushers breed dogs, and it's a big deal. And it's just, I don't know. Like, does the Midwest have anything that's very uniquely Midwestern?
Looks like next year will be 100 years of the Iditarod.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah, it's been around forever.
Sounds like Chiefs fans got a little something going, getting limbs cut off for their football team.
That's true. And by the way, when you win it, you don't. It's not like you don't win millions of dollars or anything.
Can we sponsor a team or?
Well, you can sponsor a musher.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, you could.
I want to sponsor the dogs though. I don't care about the musher. I care about the dogs.
Well, I mean, that kind of goes without saying.
What do you mean?
Well, when you sponsor a musher, or sponsor the dog that. The dog is running the musher.
It's like you give in Kansas NIL money. You pay to the pot, and then everybody gets a little bit.
No. I want certain dogs wearing my logo, not the musher. I want the dogs.
I think you could probably get that to happen. That is a race that probably needs a cash influx.
Musher? I just met her. That's from the text line.
I see what you did there.
You didn't like that? You didn't think that was very funny, Jace?
I enjoyed it.
Local radio funny man doesn't think something's funny, huh? Huh?
You piece of garbage!
I want to say it's like 100 and I'd say it's like 100 and something grand you win.
Doesn't seem worth it, but all right.
Yeah,
up next,
it's not much.
That's a little start to the club. That was kind of clubby, but the club really starts next. We're going to talk about a guy getting stung in the balls by a scorpion.
Ew.
Did you see that story?
You think the dead moose is bad? I'd rather deal with the dead moose that gets stung in the ball bag.
Buckley was sending me a link today called Balls Out Bowling Event, where they bowl naked.
The Yinzers are going crazy.
Yeah.
By the way, the first place Iditarod, it's just over 50 actually. It's not even 100.
And then we've got the highest paid actors and the richest person in the world update. I mean, we got a lot.
Got a lot to cover.
We got a lot. Oh, and I have Malaysian airliner updates.
Someone's going to prison.
Like the Malaysian airliner update?
Yep.
Ooh, I'm interested.
Who's going? What do you mean? Who's going to prison? What? Who?
You didn't see the Hollywood news?
No. Who's going to prison?
Well, tune in.
You'll have to find out in the club.
F yeah.
It's not Alec Baldwin.
6:07 on the Fan.
Auto accident? I'm late with late.
Like if you look at Deal was talking about this earlier. He texted this into the Vancouver Ford text line that white people come up with some really bizarre winter sports, like in the snow.
Well, the one that I always was thrown off as the Olympic was the one where you ski and shoot things.
Yeah,
it's like the
biathlon.
The biathlon,
Yeah.
you just cross country ski and then you shoot some stuff.
Yeah,
and,
that's what he's saying. It's like, look at that.
Well,
What is that?
I mean, that's just a throwback again, because in the Nordic, countries, you probably like during the winter, it's like you skied and then you shot something. It's like that's what you do. But now we're doing all kinds of dumps. Like they play Quidditch, they play that Harry Potter crap. They put a broom between them and they run around. And what's the other one? What was that where they race that cheese down the hill? It's like someone died doing that.
Oh yeah, There's like
a 40-pound block, like roll of cheese, and like you chase it down.
People chuck themselves down the hill trying to chase it.
Yeah.
There's the shin kicking contests.
The dumbest one is Dana White has now the Power Slap League.
Yeah.
Where you just line up and you stand in front of someone and you just slap the S out of them until someone goes unconscious.
Yeah, remember it was announced that thing was going to happen, and then weeks later he slapped his wife in public.
Yeah. It's the most ridiculous thing in the world. Like, and those people just get lit up. Like, at least in regular fighting, you're allowed to move.
Oh, people get knocked out because you just have to sit there and take it.
Yeah. Makes no sense to me whatsoever. And they do a bunch of underwater stuff now. There's there's underwater everything. There's like underwater like hockey. There's underwater like you can do anything underwater.
All right.
And by the way, look up what the Russians do. Like, you want to talk about the craziest S going down? Shocker! It comes from Russia. They have team MMA, and by the way, it's not like tag team. It's just groups of people in one big arena, and like it's a brawl. It literally is
cool.
It's what would you like? It's a riot, and you line up in teams, and you can have 3-on-1, 2-on, whatever. And you just beat each other's ass.
It's like team brawl fighting.
It's a team brawl fighting. There's another one where they dress up in medieval armor, and they beat the hell out of each other with swords and like clubs, and people died during that. And there's another one, and I don't exactly understand the rules of it, but it's played on a basketball court. And there is a basketball, but you're allowed to fight. Like it's some combination of MMA, rugby, and basketball. I think you have to dribble like once every like 10 steps, but you can literally go up to someone, grab them, pick them up, and suplex them. And that's totally legal, but you are trying to score baskets. It's the most insane thing you've ever seen.
When I was in Mexico once, I saw like an ancient Mayan game they were playing, and it was kind of like field hockey meets like team handball or hockey, but they were running around with their feet, but they had clubs that they were hitting a ball with, but the ball was on fire, and they could hit each other with it in addition to scoring goals.
Yeah.
Rad.
And someone was making fun of me earlier, saying that I was confusing the sport I talked about in the Middle East with Rambo 3. That is a real sport. It's played in the Middle East. There's a big circle, like a big giant circle in the dirt, and everyone's on horseback. No saddles or anything. You're just on a horse. And there's a dead goat. They take a goat and they ceremonially, they do a big ceremony and they kill the goat. And then you drag your horses have to go in a circle. Everyone has whips, by the way. And you don't whip the horses, you whip the other people. You're trying to whip people off their horse. You pick up the dead goat, and you have to ride around in the circle however many times, like 2-3 times. And then if you do that, you throw the dead goat in the middle and you win. Like, that's the sport. I don't know where that came from, but you just whip the hell out of people and carry a dead goat.
See what I mean?
And somewhere like in the Middle East, they're like,
This is great.
Best sport in the world.
Yeah, Buzkashi, the sport that uses dead goats as the ball.
Yeah.
Have you seen you being
Buzkashi?
Buzkashi.
That sounds like something else.
It sure does.
Yeah, it does.
There's one in Japan, and you having a Japanese special lady friend. Perhaps you have, and you were just over there.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Botayashi?
Botayashi.
I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. I've seen videos of it. Mm-hmm. It's the one where they're all climbing, like it's almost like capture the flag, but they're trying to get to the top of a pole.
Oh, it's like a King of the Mountain type situation on a totem pole. I have seen videos of this.
Dude, it's mesmerizing.
I don't get how someone even wins, but it's crazy.
Yeah, and so there's some guys trying to prevent other guys from getting up there, and then other guys helping other guys get up there, and it's just it's bizarre, but you can't take your eyes off of it.
Oh my God, and it's just a massive group of people.
Yeah, I think it's called Botayashi.
How did like? But they're blinded. Are they wearing? It looks like they're wearing some sort of mask.
I don't think so.
What is happening?
There's just a bunch of ninjas, man.
Oh my god! And it's a brawl.
You've never seen this?
No, but now I want to watch it.
Yeah, I think they have helmets on, right?
Yeah, they're wearing. It looks like they're wearing underwear on their head, but it's some sort
They're
of
just helmets.
It's just like a padded helmet, and it does appear that you can indeed beat the hell out of the other team trying to climb the pole.
Yeah, and you just get. I think you just got to get one guy on.
Yeah, you just get to the top of the pole.
Yeah.
I'm watching dead goat ball highlights, and it's wild.
Yeah, the dead goat thing is crazy. I mean, look, I'm not gonna lie. If you told me there was a sport that, like, hey, you want to go down to the Salem Armory? I'd be like, no. You want to go down to the Salem Armory and watch them play something? No. It's a sport you've never seen before, but it's pretty entertaining. No. Tell me something about the sport. They use a dead goat as a ball. That would get me to go drive down to Salem to check that out. Like hoopla, but there's a dead goat? Yeah, I'm watching. Just, you had me a dead goat.
What if there's an event called Balls Out Bowling?
There is.
What? Well.
Oh, there is.
There is, huh?
We'll get to that next. It's 6:19 on the Fan.
It's back by popular demand.
You're playing golf and you're going to like it.
The 1080 The Fan VIP Golf Card. Play 4 of the best courses in Oregon for only $65. You'll enjoy a beautiful
this is the sport. I guess it started in Afghanistan with the dead goat as the ball. You can't make it up. And apparently the circle that you throw the dead goat in to score, for whatever reason, they seem to have erected a concrete circle, which seems ridiculously irresponsible.
Yeah, you might want something soft-sided, but instead these dudes are throwing themselves off the horses into concrete sidings to get the dead goat into the bucket.
Yeah, the only thing we can think of is it might be hard to get the dead goat into the concrete barrier. So guys now just on full-speed horses dive head first with the dead goat into the concrete circle. And people are getting trampled. They're getting kicked in the head. They call it the most dangerous sport in the world. People regularly die. The other fun one, it appears in a lot of these arenas that the out-of-bounds line is indeed the spectators. And they also get trampled and kicked. And no one seems to care.
I was trying to figure out about leagues or teams, and apparently there's a 12-team league going on in Kabul that started towards the end of last year.
Oh, my God. This dude is bending over, so you lean off the horse. Like, you grab the reins and you lean down to grab the dead goat. My man's, so you're upside down, and as he's grabbing the goat, the other dude comes up and gets his horse to kick the dude in the head. Purposely, he got kicked in the head by the other guy's horse.
Part of the game, man. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
And there's no padding either. You're just out there for the love of the game.
You mentioned that no one seems to care. I have an update on this that may surprise you.
What do we got?
There is one group that cares.
And who's that?
The Taliban.
Oh.
Really?
Are they for this or against it?
I thought you were going to say PETA.
Well, no, the Taliban, so they have ruled more than once. Of course, they're back in charge
They're
now.
back. They're like herpes. Do they ever really go away?
But
they
I
just
guess
disappear for a while.
Yes.
I was reading up on this sport, and it says that during the first reign of the Taliban government in Afghanistan, it was banned, this sport, buzkashi, because they considered it immoral. Now, of course, they were ousted in 2001, but now that they're back, they've allowed the sport to continue.
That's rich. The Taliban considered it immoral.
Right. I want you to think about that.
It was too much
for the Taliban. That's what you're describing.
That's like, well, Hitler didn't appreciate pet abuse. Oh, he didn't now. You know.
By the way, be careful Googling buzkashi. Buzkashi.
Maybe we call it buzzkashi.
I don't know. Go to YouTube, Google that, and just buckle up. And I'm not going to lie, I'm a little upset that we don't have this in America. You're telling me the Blazer game is on, and we've got a game of buzkashi happening here? Which one are you? I'm tuning into this.
Are you playing it?
God,
Can I get you on a horse?
No.
Do I pay you a bunch of money?
No. There's no amount of money.
Why not?
Watch 5 minutes of highlights.
You'd probably be a good buzkashi player.
No. 5 minutes of that. You could watch 30 seconds of that. I just watched a man get kicked in the head on purpose by a horse, and there are no stoppages. My man is laying on the ground, seemingly dead, and nothing. There's no ambulance. There's no stoppage of play. In fact, quite the opposite. The group of horses then gather around my man's unconscious body as they try to gather the dead goat. You would think that.
Well, why are they trying to gather the goat?
Well, you got to pick up the goat.
It's the ball in the game.
That's the ball. Yeah, but okay, so they're just trying to get it get the ball started.
You have to get it off the ground, carry it over to like center goal. Remember that game Powerball in Gladiators, where you get the ball and you have to run it to the center and try to put it in the hoop without the gladiator knocking you off? It's kind of like that because the other people and other horses are trying to kill you while you put the dead goat in the bucket.
They use the horses. Like you do have like a whip and a club to beat other people, but the scary, that's nothing. The scary one is it does appear that people are using the horses to ram other players. That seems mildly irresponsible when you have horse versus human.
As the new commissioner of this league,
yes,
which I will hopefully they will appoint me. And I do think that the dead goat is a nice touch as the ball. Like that's shocking.
Yeah, it's nice.
And that gets people to tune in.
Oh yeah.
Would this sport be better with a ball as the ball?
How so?
Well,
I'm kind of thinking just a smaller species maybe. The goat is a little bit cumbersome.
The goat does appear to be
it's
quite
big
problematic. Like a rabbit.
Like it's hard to carry around. It's like lugging something.
Well, I think the ball pretty predictable. Where it's going to go. I mean, after all, it is dead.
Yeah.
Like a ball could bounce any which way.
Here's the problem, though. A ball can easily be thrown into the circle, the big concrete barrier. And I think part of the beauty of the dead goat is it appears that the only real way to ensure that the dead goat gets in is for you to dive in with it. And think about every time you've watched an NFL game, is there something more exciting than the goal line leap, right? Is he going to break the plane? Now imagine that, but going 25 miles an hour on a horse and then diving instead of over the goal line into a concrete barrier while holding a dead goat. And that happens every time.
But you see what I'm saying about if you, okay, so we'll use your analogy. You fumble the goat. It's just dropping right there.
Yeah.
Whereas a ball, who knows where that thing ends up?
That's true.
That's much more fun. They should hire me.
I don't know, man. I think the goat is the allure.
Now, how about this Balls Out bowling event? Buckley found this. I don't know why. Perhaps he was searching for nudist sports.
I mean, we are clearly on a path today where we are uncovering all the world's greatest sports.
Well, and can I say, too, that, having been to nude beaches, and I was at a nude resort once, first off, none of those people should be nude. And it often is perplexing, the things that people want to do nude. It's odd. There are things I love being nude. I like going to nude beaches, but there's just certain activities that you shouldn't do nude, and I would think bowling is one of them. That's not a sport that's made for nudity.
What sport is best nude?
Not Buzkashi.
No, that would be problematic. You don't want that. Like I would think like volleyball lends itself to nudity. There's a lot of like reaching.
Yeah, but on sand or on hardwood, neither one.
Well, sand. They got some soft, and there's a lot of bending and squatting, and that's good. Yeah, I would say volleyball. Maybe a nice pickleball game.
Pervert.
Ooh, pickleball's a solid choice.
Pickleball could be a nice game.
Naked pickleball
could be played nude.
What bocce?
Yeah, like croquet. Something kind of leisurely. There's a pace to
Well,
it.
naked golf. Does that work for you?
Well, I tell you what. So that's what I was going to tell you. I unfortunately stumbled upon a naked golf course website today. Well, first of all, let me tell you
You're
about
wondering
this.
what I'm looking at.
It'd make reading that putt more interesting.
So Balls Out Naked Bowling is an event in Pittsburgh in April, and it's a charity fundraiser run by a nudist group, and they just want you. So women can wear bottoms, but you have to have your T's out.
Yeah.
And dudes, and there's no hanky panky or anything, but you just go there and you bowl naked, and everybody looks at your junk, whatever. Yeah. Okay. So then I Googled, because golf was my first thought was, well, what other sports do people play naked?
Yeah.
And I thought of golf, and I Googled nude golf, and I'll be damned if there isn't a golf course, and it's the only one in the world.
Googling now.
It's in France, and it is a nude. You must play nude. It's called La Jenny. Now, here's the thing.
What's the climate like there?
Well, I don't know.
I wonder if you can do that year-round.
But it gives new meaning to the term manicured fairways.
Oh, boy. You need to look up Cypress Cove.
Dude, let me tell you about La Jenny. I go on that website, and they have photos.
Yeah.
And it's only of butts. They don't do frontals.
Yeah.
But they have photos of naked kids on there.
Boy, you need to be careful with that.
Well, they do. Well, you take your Halloween and shove it up your little kid ass. Dude, I'm serious. I'm just telling you. I was poking around the website like, oh, maybe I'll go to France and play nude golf.
Yeah, no.
They've got like a children's clinic, and they're all naked.
Yeah.
Well, if you grow up in a nudist colony, that's just normal.
Those French, man.
Is it blurred at least?
Well, like I said, they don't really show anything, but there's a bunch of naked kids running around.
Dude, I see. That is
yikes.
That's problematic.
I don't think it's good.
Now, because I Googled nude golf course, and the first thing that popped up was the Cypress Creek Nudist Resort.
Where's that?
I'm assuming it's in Florida. That would be my guess.
That'd be California, wouldn't it?
Let's see. Where is this? The interactive resort map and directions, perhaps. Central Florida.
Okay.
Central Florida. And it is a nudist resort and colony, and they do have photos on their website, and they show everything.
And they have some golf.
Yeah, and there is a 9-hole pitch and putt golf course, and as you can see here, they indeed have...
they pitch and putt, huh?
They got pitch and putt. And...
it's hot.
Yeah. Novelty, variety, and challenge. And it is what you think is a lot of old people, and boy... I'll tell you what, it is hanging low, Sweet Chariot, if you know what I mean, on all occasions.
Well, I don't need to see it. I'll take your word for it.
Players are asked to follow these simple rules: pitch and putt only, no full swing shots.
Why?
Tees must be used on the tee box, and players are responsible to damage personal property in adjoining the golf course because it's a resort. So there's people that live there.
And tees must be out.
It is nudist. You are not allowed to. You're not allowed
do
to
it. You can't do it.
Apparently, according to our YouTube stream here, there in the comments thread, there is a YouTube series called Adventures in Golf, and they did an episode at this Cypress Grove, so you can see more about it.
So there you can play cornhole, tennis, pickleball, golf, and there's swimming and boating.
Now, do you wear shoes when you golf naked?
Yes, it does appear that everyone is in footwear.
Even more hot.
I think that's weird.
I'm
not comfortable in shoes while the rest of me is all hanging out.
I know, it's so weird. The whole thing's weird. Like, why would you golf naked?
Boy, I'm telling you, I can't.
The novelty, baby.
I am on this website, and I'm looking at all now. We got pickleball, and it is they are not shy.
Now, do they wear gloves?
Yeah, it looks like they got gloves here, and hats,
And hats and
hats.
wristbands and
This lady's got a visor on. I'm interested in the cornhole as well. Yeah, you need to check out the Cypress Grove website. It is fascinating. I guess that's the whole nudist lifestyle.
Where did a guy get stung in the beanbag by a scorpion? Was it Vegas, a cruise ship, Disneyland, or a golf course? Next, here's Buck.
Oh no, oh no.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a sports
kept private. Discussions of swinging and recruiting are definitely not welcome here.
No recruiting ground.
And public displays will get you run.
Wait a minute, recruiting?
Yeah, you can't go there to
Like
recruit.
you can't go there to try to pick up on somebody.
You
Recruit a
can't even hit
significant
on
other.
somebody?
That's what it sounds like.
That's what it sounds.
Well, that's stupid.
It's not what it's about.
Power rank the lack of understanding mentality, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We've had 3 of these today. How do people get hit by trains? Why do people do things like pickleball and golf naked? Or anything really that's, short of doing it. Why are you doing that naked?
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one was why anyone shoplifts mundane things when they make good money.
By far the one that I don't understand more than anyone else, or more so than any of the others, is the train thing.
See, that's third on my list.
That's third on your list?
Because I think all that the train thing says is just how oblivious people can be.
But I guess I can't.
And they are very oblivious at times.
I can't, but that's what I struggle. I understand not paying attention to your surroundings. I cannot fathom not seeing or hearing a GD freight train.
But at least of the 3, that's the only one that's accidental. You're playing nude sports on purpose. And,
that's true.
And what was the third?
Well, the third one was shoplifting.
Oh, right. You're doing that on purpose
things,
too. That's not an accident either. So,
like a veggie tray when you're making good money.
And that one, to me, even though I don't understand it, I think is related to a compulsion or even an addiction. Whereas
the other one I think about that too, the more I noodle with that, it's either the thrill of it, you're like, or it's viewed as so insignificant that it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Like I said, like I'll do the handful of nuts, the bulk nuts, and I'll have the mentality of like, I'm spending $300 here.
You got baby nuts.
What is the 17 cents that these handful of nuts as I walk around? I think a lot of people, it's so insignificant, they're like, whatever.
Okay.
It's a pack of gum or whatever.
So then why do people do things naked, like golfing? Like, what is that about? Are you just super perv? You have to do everything naked?
I mean, why is anyone a nudist? It would probably follow in line with that.
It's the same idea.
Right?
Like, what is that? What is that mentality?
That feels like more of a liberation thing than a compulsion, but I don't know.
You just feel alive when you're naked?
You feel freer, maybe. I mean, the same reason that people like being naked at home, I guess maybe they just like to be naked out in the world.
I like being naked.
Yeah, so I mean, but I'm not saying you want to go do and exhibit it in front of everybody, but I think for the same reason you like that, the people who do it out in public or in resorts like this, they like it for that reason too.
It's weird because if there's no one at the house, I'm never wearing a shirt. Chances are, if it's in the morning, there's a good chance I'm naked, or at night. I like going to nude beaches is fine, but when I'm ever at a nude beach, I'm never like, you know what I want to do? Volleyball. So I enjoy being nude, but I've never had the desire to do anything nude.
Yeah, like why would you,
besides lay in the sun.
Why would you bowl naked?
I don't know. Being naked indoors doing activities, and here's the other one. Like, let's say my hot water heater is out right now. So I'm having to deal with...
You're taking cold showers, or are you just avoiding the shower?
Because
those cold showers are terrifying. They're awful.
Yeah. I've managed to get my hot water... I can get it working, and then it stops working again. So you can reset it, and you can do some things. So it's going down, but as of yet, it hasn't officially died. But we're going to get it. We're have to get it replaced. But like I battle with that now. For the last 2 days, every morning I wake up, I have to deal with the fact that there's no hot water. So I have to go down and do the same stupid thing to the hot water heater to get it to work, and it works for like half a day, and then it dies again. I cannot imagine going down to deal with the hot water heater while naked. Today I dealt with it, and I dealt with it a pair of shorts, and that was it. Bare feet, no shirt, but I put on a pair of shorts because I think it would be very irresponsible of me and quite weird to be in my garage dealing with a circuit breaker, opening up the hot water heater and dealing with it while naked. I can't imagine doing that. And there's no one else there. It's just me. But I would feel mortified if I was handling a hot water heater while nude. There's just certain things you don't do naked, and I think appliance maintenance is one of them.
So what is your point?
Well,
that sports is also one of them?
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like I said, I'm nude. I like being nude, but I got to go do something, put on some damn pants, or at least a pair of shorts. But like I didn't put on a shirt.
Okay.
I didn't put on a sweatshirt, but I put on pants so that when I bent over to deal with the release valve, that I wasn't pulling a wild goat maneuver from behind.
So you're saying if you're at a nudist colony or whatever,
Yes.
when you go to dinner,
I feel like I'm putting on a pair of pants.
lace them up.
Yeah. And certainly if I was somewhere like at a nude beach and they're like, "Hey, do you want to kick this soccer ball around?" I'd be like, "Yeah, let me put on some shorts first."
Or you would just say, "No, I want to be naked,
Exactly.
and therefore I don't want to do anything like that."
There's good nudity and there's bad nudity. Laying on a beach, great nudity. Fixing a hot water heater, bad nudity. That's no good.
All right. Well, anyway, I just want to tell you real quick. There's a guy that got stung in the balls by a scorpion. Did you see this story?
No, I did not. But
So
it's
you
his
don't know
fault
where
for not
it's-
putting on pants.
I saw this story.
You don't know where it's from? So, guess. It's either a cruise ship, Disneyland, Vegas, or a golf course. Where do you think it happened?
Well, why would you be? Oh gosh, I don't know. Now I'm confused. Cruise ship. Going
Vegas.
cruise ship.
It
Vegas.
happened. It happened at the Venetian Hotel in Vegas.
Oh.
He was stung in his testicles by a scorpion asleep in bed.
Why was there a scorpion in the hotel?
Well, you tell him that.
So he just climbed in there and
Why is there a cockroach in the kitchen at your favorite restaurant? It's just, it happens
boy.
sometimes.
Yeah, he took a picture of it. It's a very small scorpion, but it got him.
Right in the fun bags.
Yep, right in the fun bag.
I think
And-
I would have crushed that thing before I stopped to take a picture. I would have been so mad.
Well, I think he did kill it. He conveniently took a picture of it right over his underwear. I don't know why he did that, but he put it on his...
Is he doing bits? Is he trying to sue the Venetian? Because I'm looking here. Yeah, he took a photo of it on his...
Well, I think he's claiming that it was attached to his drawers, and that's why he took the photo. Like, that's how it stung him.
Okay.
Was right there.
Yeah.
And so he took his undies off, and it was just attached to the undies.
Oh, okay. Like,
and he
yeah.
took a...
I can see that.
He took a photo of it.
Yeah, he was wearing Reebok underwear, by the way.
Just
Who knew
in
that was
his
a thing?
hotel.
Was it poisonous or was it just a little?
I don't think so.
A little uncomfortable.
He said there was a lot of pain.
Well, yeah, you got stung in the balls. I mean,
but
a strong breeze comes by and gets you in the balls, and it's going to hurt a little bit.
Yeah, he said the next day he and his family checked out of the hotel, but not before he filed an incident report with staff. Everyone was in shock. Nobody believed him.
I see the incident report. The best part is he had to circle on the body where it happened, and he put an X right there on
He had to
his
show him right on the doll.
Yeah, he did. Show him the doll where it hurt you.
And he said, I have been bitten by scorpions at my groin testicles.
Huh. So now he's going to sue. Obviously, he's got an attorney.
Yeah.
Do you have to submit to ball testing to find out if indeed you were stung?
I don't know.
I know it sounds weird, but I'm looking at this guy and his attorney, and they seem, I don't know.
You call him cash grab?
It's certainly a cash grab. I mean, come on. He's fine.
Can I say they look untrustworthy?
Well, the attorney certainly does.
And look at that guy. He
just looks like an old geezer who's hanging out at the Venetian. Didn't have anything better to do. But look, you shouldn't have to look. This is just like the Boeing door plug thing.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to deal with it.
You just shouldn't have. Yeah, like you have every right to sue.
I need to know if indeed he was stung in the ball bag, though. I want an examination done. I want
photos of his balls.
I want photo on. I need to see a swollen scrot before I give this guy. If I'm on that jury, I want detailed photos, and not from Dr. Nick Riviera. I want an independent third-party urologist to look at that ball bag.
Well, there was a big bed bug infestation in Vegas.
I remember that.
Did you read about that?
I did read about that.
That hit a lot of hotels.
Yeah, and nice ones too, not just the crappy ones.
Yep, I think Encore might have been one.
Like if I stay at the Stratosphere, you know what? That's on me. I deserve bed bugs.
I think
but
that's
you
right.
stay at the Encore, you should not be getting bed bugs. And the Venetian is nice enough not to be stung in the ball bag.
Yeah. Well,
if I get stung in the ball bag, it's going to be because I paid for it down in Vegas.
That's right.
I think that's extra, by the way.
A stinging sensation in the ball bag is not uncommon in Vegas.
But I pay for that. It doesn't happen on accident.
That's right. All right, we'll wrap it up next on The Fan.
The home of dirt and